Chapter 738. When Mu Chichi returned to her seat, Xing Xiao tilted his head and looked at her. Are you happy today? Why do you say that? Mu Chichi was surprised. Don't I know you well enough? Isn't this what you like the most? Xing Xiao's eyes were handsome. When he lowered his head with his back to the light, he gave off a strong sense of oppression. Mu Chichi could not stand it. Don't say it if you know I like it, Mu Chichi said softly. Where's my present? Mu Chichi reached out her hand and pinched Xing Xiao's thigh under the table. It's not the time for you to ask for a present, Xing Xiao smiled calmly. He did not chase away the little hand that was harassing his thigh. Instead, he continued chatting with Grandpa Xing. The lunch continued. The guests said that it was worth it to come today. They had watched a good show. It also made them believe that the future Huang Yao would be more brilliant than when Grandpa Xing was managing it. On the other hand, Gu Xiling selfishly drove away, leaving Xing Kai to take a taxi home. He knew that he had disappointed Gu Xiling's family today. But now he had to rely on Gu Xiling to make a comeback. So, even if he was shameless, he still returned to Gu Xiling's house. But the current situation was that even the servants in the house did not bother to look at him. Gu Xiling even sat on the sofa and complained to her mother. Mom, I feel that I have a hard life. Why did I marry such a man? These words were harsh enough to the ears of others. But Xing Kai could still bear it. Xiling, you've embarrassed the whole family. You'd better wait for Grandpa to come back and make a decision. Anyway, I'm very disappointed in you now. Gu Xiling got up from the sofa and stormed back to the bedroom. Mama Gu glanced at Xing Kai and shook her head helplessly. I really don't know why I agreed to marry Xiling to you. Xing Kai said nothing and went to the garden alone with his tail between his legs. He knew that there was no place for him in this family. But he had nowhere else to go. He had planned this very well. Even Mu Chichi had said that if Gu Xiling had not gone to look for who ran, Xing Xiao would not have found out. But in the end, Gu Xiling had pushed all the blame to him. If he was not living under someone else's roof, he would have kicked a woman like Gu Xiling far away. Why was he the only one living in such a sorry state among the Sheng family? He was not convinced. After a whole day of excitement, Grandpa Xing just wanted a moment of peace. So, after sending all the guests away, he said to Xing Bowen and the others, You guys go too. Go and date. Let me fish with old Shen. Xing Bowen knew that he was annoyed by the noise for the whole day. He smiled and said, Then we're really leaving. You can go home with old Shen. Okay, let's go. The old man held his forehead in annoyance. He didn't want to suffer like this again during his birthday. Xing said. Kai Xing and Xing Xing, Xing Xiao Xing, Xing Chichi. Xing not. No, I want to go home. With that, Xing Xiao dragged Mu Chichi into the car. Why? Xing Bowen was confused. In the end, he could only say to Ren Yufei, Since you're ignoring us, we can only go watch a movie by ourselves. Do you want to watch it? Anything is fine. Ren Yufei touched her arm and smiled. Besides, you don't really want to drink with Chichi. Have I been seen through? Xing Bowen laughed heartily and pulled Ren Yufei into his arms. He whispered in her ear, I just want to pretend to be crazy and take advantage of you. Ren Yufei's face turned red, but she did not push Xing Bowen away. She enjoyed the ambiguity and sweetness of being in a relationship. She also longed to kiss this man. Let's go watch a movie. Mu Chichi sat in the car and watched the two of them hugging each other on the road. She was extremely envious, so she turned to look at her man and said, It's been a long time since we hugged each other like that. We're indeed an old couple. Are there no more passion? Someone did not say anything. He just closed his eyes and took a nap. A married man starts to pay attention to his image and starts to dislike his wife. Xing Xiao was still indifferent. However, just as Mu Chichi was about to continue nagging, Xing Xiao suddenly pressed her against the back of the seat and forcefully sealed her thin lips. Once Mu Chichi was about to speak, Xing Xiao would directly bite her lower lip, making it impossible for her to speak. The two of them kissed all the way. When they reached home, Mu Chichi's lips were already swollen. No one could look at them. In order not to be discovered by Mama Sheng, Mu Chichi ran straight back to the bedroom. This made Mama Sheng and Xing Xiao ask Xing Xiao in confusion, What's wrong with Xiao Qi? It's nothing. I'm in a hurry to go to the bathroom. Your father and I didn't go today. It seems like we missed a good show. Second brother is really surprising. Xing Xiao said a few words to Mama Sheng and quickly returned to the bedroom. However, his expression did not show that he was in a hurry at all. Mu Chichi buried herself in the quilt. She planned to ignore this man for the whole night because her lips were really painful. A married woman, has completely forgotten how willing she was when she had a crush on him. If it were in the past, you wouldn't be angry no matter how I kissed you. Xing Xiao sat on the edge of the bed and deliberately said that in a vengeful manner. Mu Qiqi snorted coldly under the quilt. Xing Xiao shook his head and did not say anything else. He took his bathrobe and went to the bathroom. Mu Qiqi heard that there was no response from outside for a long time. She poked her head out and found that the damn man had actually gone to take a shower by himself. Mu Qiqi took the opportunity to look at her school bag. Then she took out a small, exquisite box. When Xing Xiao was not paying attention, she sneaked into the study and put the box on Xing Xiao's desk. The cufflinks she gave Xing Xiao were treated like a treasure by this man. In the end, it was because she had given this man too little. This thing was also carved by herself. Although it was not as exquisite as the one sold outside, it was all her sincerity. After quietly putting away the things, she returned to the bed as if nothing had happened. After the man came out of the bathroom, she went in to take a shower. Because this man had a habit of staying in the study for a while every day. Today was no exception. Xing Xiao followed his habit. He wrapped himself in a black bathrobe and entered the study. However, his gaze was instantly attracted by the small wooden box on the table. Just like the big box he gave the old man during the day, it looked inconspicuous from the outside. Xing Xiao smiled faintly. It seemed that he would have to get this little one to drink more in the future. Chapter 739. Xing Xiao walked to the desk and gently picked up the box. He opened it and saw 3 neat rows of wooden bookmarks. Each bookmark was carved into various decorative patterns. Considering his identity, this little thing must have spent a lot of effort to restrain itself from carving flowers and trees. Instead, it carved these textured patterns. It was probably because most of the books in the study had their legs broken by him. That was why this little thing thought of making such a set. In his hand, it was as thin as a cicada's wing. But it was so thin. The possibility of it breaking was very high, wasn't it? Xing Xiao thought about it and called Su Che. Come over early tomorrow. There's something I need you to take care of. The great Chief Sheng was going to preserve this thing and then seal it. At the very least, he had to be able to take out the things the little thing gave him until he died. Because of Mu Qiqi's gifts, Xing Xiao spent a little more time in the study. He carefully took out each of them and studied them before putting them away. At first, he was very disdainful when old Master Xing got his walking stick and couldn't let it go. But now. Then, he returned to the bedroom as if nothing had happened. He saw that Mu Qiqi was already lying on the bed with her back facing him. Xing Xiao lay down and forced Mu Qiqi to turn over. What? Mu Qiqi asked in annoyance. I received the gift, Xing Xiao said calmly as he hugged her. Mu Qiqi snorted. If she had known that she would be kiss swollen, she wouldn't have prepared any gift for him. Take revenge however you want. I won't fight back, Xing Xiao promised in her ear. Really? Mu Qiqi looked up in disbelief. But when she thought about it, this person was obviously pleased by the gift. That was why he was so generous. I'll owe you for today. I'll settle the score with you later. But my lips really hurt tonight. They're burning. Xing Xiao lowered his head and hooked her chin to take a look. It was true. So, he immediately got out of bed and applied some anti-inflammatory medicine. If you say something heartless again in the future, I'll teach you a lesson again. After Mu Qiqi heard this, she immediately turned her back to him. Xing Xiao hugged her from behind and comforted her softly. Isn't it enough for you to throw a tantrum all the way here? I can't do anything to you. At night, Grandpa Gu went out and returned home. When he saw Gu Xiling and her daughter sitting on the sofa with a gloomy expression, he knew what they were doing. When I get home I see your faces. Are you trying to make me feel bad? Grandfather, what happened in the Sheng family today? Gu Xiling immediately wanted to explain, unwilling to lose her grandfather's love for Sheng Kai. But she was interrupted by Grandpa Gu. Where's Sheng Kai? Grandpa Gu asked. Why don't I see him? He's been in the garden all day. He doesn't have the face to come in. Gu Xiling's eyes were red as she answered sorrowfully. Bastard, no matter what, he is still your husband. How can you lock your own husband outside the door? Grandpa Gu reprimanded Gu Xiling. A man's dignity shouldn't be trampled on like this. You'll only make him more depressed. But you saw what happened today, grandfather. He definitely doesn't have the ability or the means to fight the Sheng family. What hope do I have? Gu Xiling cried. You know that I like capable men. I just want the strongest husband. You have to be clear. You're already married. Your husband can be a coward, but you can't marry me again. Grandfather. Go and call him in, Grandpa Gu ordered sternly. Gu Xiling wiped her tears and walked toward the garden unwillingly. A moment later, Shen Kai entered the living room. When he saw Grandpa Gu, he didn't have enough confidence. He felt that he hadn't met Grandpa Gu's expectations. If you didn't do well, that's a man's problem. You shouldn't be stepped on by a woman. Shen Kai, although my granddaughter is mine, if you can't even deal with her, how are you going to deal with the Sheng family? That's impossible. I want to hear the reason for the failure of the plan now. Tell me the main reason. Shen Kai had been thinking in the garden for an entire day. In addition, the humiliation that Gu Xiling had given him today was really unbearable. Therefore he was ready to fight to the death. In the previous plan there was only Third Master Long and a spy. The things had been successfully sent to Huang Yao, and no one had discovered them. However, Xiling said that she wanted to deal with Hu Ran and asked me to arrange a spy to let Hu Ran and the Sheng family kill each other. It was precisely because she exposed too much in front of Hu Ran that the plan was discovered by Sheng Xiao. When Gu Xiling heard Shen Kai's explanation, she pointed at him and shouted, "Are you shameless?" You heard it too. Even at the scene today, Mu Chichi said the same thing. You shouldn't have joined the plan at all, and you shouldn't have tried to use and humiliate Hu Ran for your own selfish desires. Isn't taking revenge on the Sheng family your selfish desires? Gu Xiling laughed. Let me tell you, Shen Kai. Without me you're nothing. It's even more impossible for you to have these opportunities to take revenge on the Sheng family. When Grandpa Gu heard this, he reached out to stop Gu Xiling. Xiling, go back to your room. Grandpa. The problem is you. Don't you realize your mistake at all? Woman, don't be so domineering. If you're domineering, how can Kai grow up? Gu Xiling looked at her grandfather in disbelief. She really didn't expect her grandfather to stand on the side of an outsider. I'll go. Gu Xiling ran away as she cried and shouted. Mama Gu also chased after Gu Xiling. At this time, Grandpa Gu said to Shen Kai earnestly, I shouldn't be the one to teach you how to educate a woman. However, you've spoiled Xiling too much. A woman shouldn't interfere in a man's matters. But Shen Kai had never expected that the man in front of him would actually stand on his side instead of helping his granddaughter humiliate him. Your godfather is still very satisfied with you. He's not disappointed in you. So study hard. One day you'll be able to achieve what you want. Thank you, Grandpa. Now go back to your room and control your woman. Don't let her ruin any of your plans. Shen Kai's attitude towards this old man was a little strange. Gu Xiling was his biological granddaughter. No matter what, he did not lose Grandpa Gu's support. That meant that he was not in a desperate situation yet. Moreover, it was Grandpa who allowed him to teach Gu Xiling a lesson, wasn't it? Moreover, Grandpa was right. He shouldn't have accommodated Gu Xiling from the beginning. Chapter 740. After returning to the room, Shen Kai saw Gu Xiling sitting on the sofa and throwing a tantrum. Her eyes were glaring at him aggressively. Before Shen Kai could say anything, Gu Xiling threw the cosmetic bottle on the table at him. I don't have a husband like you. Shen Kai did not dodge. Blood flowed from his forehead. Then he grabbed Gu Xiling's neck and said fiercely, You're already married. It's too late to regret it. If you humiliate and trample on me like this again in the future, I'll drag you down with me. Gu Xiling, try it if you don't believe me. Gu Xiling was so frightened by Shen Kai that she did not dare to move. Although they usually quarreled, Shen Kai's gaze had never been so ferocious. It was frightening. It was as if she continued to quarrel, Shen Kai would really break her neck. Shen Kai saw that she was not resisting, so he let go of her hand. He stood up and said to her, What you should be thinking about now is how to get pregnant and stabilize your position in front of grandfather. If there's a next time and the plan still fails, I'll drag you to hell with me. You can't give birth at all. How can I get pregnant? Then think of a way. Gu Xiling sat on the sofa and burst into tears. She had never thought that one day her life would be so miserable and that she would be hurt so badly by a man. However, in Mu Chichi's opinion, Shen Kai and Gu Xiling were already twisted enough. How could they hope to live a normal life? That was strange. The midnight movie had just ended. At 1:30 a.m. Xing Bowen brought Ren Yufei out of the cinema. At this moment there were no people on the streets. Xing Bowen took Ren Yufei for a walk home. After all, it was only 10 minutes away from Ren Yufei's apartment. It's been many years since I've watched a movie like this. On the way back, Xing Bowen held Ren Yufei's hand and said, I still remember the last time I watched a movie was when I first arrived in America. Isn't young master's life beautiful? Grandfather used to be very mean to everyone, even eighth brother. So, the brothers actually didn't have a happy childhood in the Sheng family. Eighth brother had it the hardest at that time. Because of his existence, the other brothers had the opportunity to go abroad to manage the branch company, Xingbowen explained. Xingbowen explained. Grandpa has high standards for everyone, so our lives are really boring. Therefore, it's even more impossible for you to understand the joy we had when we were kids, barefoot on the street. The two of them were like old friends who had been talking to each other for many years. Soon, the two of them arrived at Ren Yufei's apartment. At that moment, Xingbowen wished that his car had been stolen and that it would not appear in front of him. I'm home. It's too late, you should go home and rest. Ren Yufei did not see through Xingbowen's intentions. He should have had enough of her in the cinema today. A man who was almost 30 years old had his first awakening of love and had already used all kinds of ways to act shamelessly. Xingbowen did not say anything. Seeing that Ren Yufei was about to walk to the entrance of the corridor, he suddenly had the courage to go forward and grab Ren Yufei's wrist. He asked her, "Tonight can I stay?" After Ren Yufei heard this, her heart began to beat faster. She was completely stunned on the spot. Seeing that she did not respond, Xingbowen carried her in his arms and quickly walked up the apartment building. Then, like a child, he entered Ren Yufei's room. In fact, he was also very nervous, but he always felt that during this period of time with Ren Yufei, he had already developed a deep dependence and desire for her. He really wanted to have her, from body to heart. After entering, the atmosphere was a little awkward because Ren Yufei did not know what would happen next. The bed in her room was small to begin with. As she thought about it, Ren Yufei's face turned even redder. However, Xingbowen did not let her escape. He sat on Ren Yufei's small bed and said to her, "Yufei, come over here." Ren Yufei was a little hesitant, but she could not control her footsteps. When she got closer, Xingbowen directly pulled her onto his legs and kissed her like a storm. Ren Yufei was a little uncomfortable at first because he was using too much force. However, when she thought that this was the feeling in the depths of his heart, Ren Yufei no longer had any burdens and could not help but respond. The fiery entanglement turned into an intense tumble. Their consciousness gradually faded away, and all that was left was their infatuation for each other. After spring they wore less clothes, so it was exceptionally convenient to take them off. When Ren Yufei regained consciousness, she saw Xingbowen's bronze-colored chest and abdominal muscles. She did not dare to go any further. Xingbowen grabbed her hand and placed it on his waist. He encouraged her. "Yufei, other than when I was young, you're the first woman who has been looked at like this by my mother without any restraints." Ren Yufei remembered that there seemed to be such a thing. This man and who ran had been married for so long, but the two of them had not had sex. So she was really his first woman. "I want you. I want you now, but I also know that you still have concerns in your heart. If you say that you still have to think about it, then we'll stop. I'll continue to endure it, but if you're like me, eager to get each other, then don't talk so much." Ren Yufei turned her face away in embarrassment and said such a suggestive sentence. Xingbowen was overjoyed. He no longer had to control his feelings and desires. It was just that this was the first time for both of them, so the process was not so smooth. However, it was also the most primitive impulse that made the two of them even more inseparable and unable to control themselves. In the midst of their passion, Xingbowen did not forget to ask Ren Yufei, "Yufei, are you afraid of getting pregnant? If you don't want to have a child so early, then I will also stop." Xingbowen was almost 30 years old and she was not young anymore. Moreover, she liked children very much, so she did not reject having a new life coming into this world at all. However, being pregnant before marriage. Would it be a little unpleasant to hear about it? If you're worried about the status, then we'll go and register tomorrow. Don't you need to ask Grandpa? Grandpa asked me to marry you as soon as possible, Xingbowen whispered into Ren Yufei's ear. Ren Yufei trembled uncontrollably because that was her sensitive area. "Forget it. We'll have children when we're both prepared." After saying that, Xingbowen resisted the urge to continue and got up to go to the bathroom. Although Ren Yufei's body was empty, her heart was full. There was actually a man in this world who could stop in the process of love for a woman. Chapter 741. After thinking about it, Ren Yufei mustered up her courage and followed him into the bathroom. While the man was taking a shower, she hugged him. "I don't regret it." Xingbowen's voice was hoarse and unbearable. The desire that he had just suppressed came out again. "We'll let nature take its course. If we get pregnant, we'll give birth. Even if you don't acknowledge him, I'll raise the child alone." After Xingbowen heard this, he turned around and held Ren Yufei's cheek seriously. He said, "I won't allow you to have such thoughts. The child belongs to both of us. I won't let you suffer alone." I'll definitely work hard to give you the best life. Ren Yufei also looked at Sheng Bowen with a burning gaze. Their feelings were so strong, so what was there to restrain? So, the two of them kissed again, and it spread from the bathroom all the way to the bedroom. This time Sheng Bowen did not stop. That night, the two of them tasted each other and went crazy for each other. By the time they stopped, the sky was already turning blue. Sheng Bowen curled up on Ren Yufei's small bed, not daring to move because Ren Yufei was lying in his arms. Seeing this woman so tired from being tormented by him, a strong sense of guilt rose in Sheng Bowen's heart. Therefore, he planned to immediately mention the matter of the two of them getting married when he got home. However, old Master Sheng was not stupid at all. His grandson had not been home for the whole night. Although he was old, he could still guess what was going on. Especially when he saw Sheng Bowen's radiant and energetic face entering the Sheng family's living room, he was even more certain that this old virgin had finally confessed. "Grandpa, you're going to get married, aren't you?" Old Master Sheng sat in the living room and said very clearly. You didn't come back all night. Do you think your grandfather is as stupid as you?" Old Master Sheng snorted. "Since it's already like this, hurry up and register. Do you need me to teach you? Don't wait for Xiao Ren to get pregnant before reporting to me. Otherwise I'll really beat you to death." "Grandpa, I never dared to think that I could find a woman I like," Sheng Bowen said with emotion. If you're touched, don't say it. After you're done, hurry back to work." Because speaking of this matter, Grandpa Sheng felt extremely guilty. If it wasn't for his stubbornness in the past, he wouldn't have nearly ruined his grandchildren's happiness. Luckily he could make up for it now. "By the way, you have to take care of little Ren's family." "I understand." Sheng Bowen took his ID and called Ren Yufei. The president and special assistant of Huang Yao were absent from work today in order to complete their marriage. She slept until noon. When she woke up, Sheng Bowen was sitting in the living room. "Hurry up and freshen up. After dinner we'll go register. I've already talked to the Civil Affairs Bureau." "Actually, I'm not that anxious," Ren Yufei said. "You're not anxious, but I am. By the way, your parents, should we?" "No need." Ren Yufei only used 2 words to interrupt Sheng Bowen. "Marriage itself is my own business. I just want to live a good life." Sheng Bowen nodded and quickly looked away from Ren Yufei because he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control himself again. Men who had started their relationship were all like this. They couldn't be flirted with. Soon the two of them went out together. Sheng Bowen drove Ren Yufei directly to the Civil Affairs Bureau. There was already someone waiting for them there. The procedure was very simple. It was just a matter of signing and stamping. A few minutes later, the wedding photos of the two of them came out. Then they stamped and got their marriage certificate. From then on, their relationship as husband and wife was established. After getting the red booklet, Sheng Bowen held Ren Yufei's hand and said, "Today's marriage registration. Everything is too hasty, but I will definitely give you a grand wedding. Trust me. There's no hurry." Ren Yufei smiled and said, "Since I've already decided to marry you, I don't care about those ceremonies. But I care. I didn't marry you to make you sacrifice yourself for me. I understand." Ren Yufei tiptoed and kissed Sheng Bowen gently on the cheek. Sheng Bowen was satisfied and left with his men. "In principle, I'm not afraid of anyone knowing about our registration. But if you feel that it's inconvenient, you can hide it from the company for now and wait for the right time to make it public. However, there's one thing. You have to move to the Sheng family. The apartment you're living in now is too small. I slept very poorly last night." After hearing this, Ren Yufei couldn't help but laugh. "I'll listen to your arrangements. Don't worry. The people in the Sheng family are easy to get along with. I'll also find a time to arrange for you to meet my parents." Ren Yufei listened silently, enjoying this man's anxiety and nervousness with joy. She was married and this man belonged to her. She had never dreamed that such a day would come. "I really want to tell the world now." Mu Chichi was the first in the world. Sheng Bowen didn't have many friends. The only people who could share such good news without any scruples were Xing Xiao and his wife. From the phone, Mu Chichi could hear Sheng Bowen's excitement because he could finally be with the person he liked. "Third brother, although you're very happy now, I have a few words that I have to tell you because I think no one else will tell you this other than me." "Go ahead." Sheng Bowen suddenly became nervous. "Secretary Ren has no power or influence. She comes from an ordinary family. She'll definitely feel inferior and insecure when she suddenly marries into a rich family. So don't just be happy. You have to give her enough confidence and security. Cinderella has entered a rich family. The outside world will have a lot of opinions about her. Don't be careless. You have to care about her psychological state at all times. Finally, protect her. She's your wife now, the person you should protect the most. Don't talk about it. In addition to protecting her physical safety, you have to protect her heart. After Xing Bowen heard this, he smiled. You're usually so carefree. I didn't expect you to nag me about this. Don't take my kindness for granted. Don't think that you've truly completed your life's major event after marrying Secretary Ren. Your life has just begun and the challenges have just begun. You're a married person after all. You have a lot of experience. Xing Bowen couldn't help but tease Mu Qiqi. Don't worry. Even if you don't say it, there's still a model eighth brother there. No matter what, I can't do worse than him. You can't compare to him. After saying that, Mu Qiqi hung up. Chapter 742. After the two of them finished registering, they returned to the company. However, in the eyes of the employees, Xing Bowen seemed to be in a particularly good mood today. Didn't you see the president's happy face today? Secretary Rin only came to work in the afternoon. What did the two of them do? The people below began to gossip. They're a couple. What do? It's none of our business. I heard that the president brought Secretary Ren to meet the chairman yesterday. Doesn't that mean that they've met his parents? Secretary Ren has always worked hard with the president, so I think the two of them are a good match. But Secretary Ren's family doesn't seem to be very good. Who cares about her? As long as it's true love. The group of people made a ruckus. They couldn't wait to dig out everything about the rich and powerful. Fortunately, although some people didn't think highly of Ren Yufei's family background, no one denied her as a person. At least, everyone in Huangyao recognized her contributions. It wasn't that Xing Bowen didn't hear the news. He also thought about Mu Qiqi's reminder to him at noon. If he really wanted to protect Ren Yufei, he had to completely protect her from the bottom of his heart. Therefore, using the excuse of Huangyao's tribulation, Xing Bowen proposed to organize employee benefits at the meeting and let Ren Yufei take the credit. He wanted everyone to know that Ren Yufei had a great impact on him. However, this made Ren Yufei feel strange. She had just gone out to do something, but when she came back, she heard her colleagues thanking her. Thus, Ren Yufei knocked on the door and went to the president's office. What's going on? Everyone is thanking me. I just want them to know that I listen to you and put you in my heart. After Xing Bowen said that, he instructed Ren Yufei, get off work early today. I'll accompany you home to pack your things. You're moving to the Sheng family. Do you remember? Ren Yufei nodded. In the future, you have to discuss this kind of thing with me. Otherwise, I won't know anything and it'll be very awkward. Okay, Mrs. Sheng. Xing Bowen had suddenly gone from a dull student with zero foundation to a master of flirting. This really confirmed the saying that it was all because there was someone you liked, so everything became self-taught. In front of the person you like, you will be positive, you will become soft, romantic, and more able to understand feelings. Xing Bowen felt that his bitterness was finally over and the sweetness had come. Mu Qiqi and Tang Yin should have gone to congratulate Xing Bowen when he got married. However, the forensics lab was short of hands, and Mu Qiqi was called back as an assistant. Of course, for Mu Qiqi's safety, Tang Yin and Xing Xiao only allowed her to go once. Tang Yin was in the process of handing over the batch of diacetyl morphine that appeared in Huangyao to the Drug Enforcement Administration. Because he was not in this field now, he still had to leave the professional things to the professionals. The only one left in the Jianchuan branch was the mole in Huangyao. Because it involved a major case, the bureau approved the interrogation. However, the man sat in the interrogation room for an entire day, unwilling to confess anything of value. Captain Tang, this man insists that he doesn't know anything. He found it by chance and suspected that it was diacetyl morphine, so he immediately called the police. He refused to admit that he deliberately framed Huang Yao and claimed that he wasn't instructed by anyone. After an entire day of interrogation, Officer Long handed Tang Yen a blank paper. Have you checked his account, social media, call records, and 18 generations of his ancestors? Tang Yen asked. These won't come out so soon. I've already gone to the bank to retrieve his account information. Everything is normal. Then use some tricks, Tang Yen said. Tang Yen said. Everyone knew that it was Xing Kai who did it, but where did Xing Kai get the goods from? How did he send them to Huang Yao through a small merchant? Don't give up on this clue. Keep following him. Hasn't the case been transferred? I told you to keep following him, so keep following him. This was because he always believed that if there was really that circle in Jianchuan, then Third Master Long must have played an important role in it. And now, Qing Bin, that dangerous person, was under Third Master Long. He had to figure out the ins and outs of this matter. When Mu Qiqi heard the results of the interrogation, she also came out of the autopsy room and told Tang Yen in private, "I suggest that we follow Xing Kai because Third Master Long knows that Xing Kai is using him. He's anxious and wants revenge. If we follow Xing Kai, we might be able to find something. This matter has nothing to do with Huang Yao or the Sheng family. From today onwards, you and Shanshan don't get involved anymore. You understand what I'm saying?" Understood. This was because Tang Yen and Xing Xiao were both doing this for their safety. If the gang that had made Tang Yen suffer so much years ago were to make a comeback, it would not be a joke. She cherished her life. She would not get involved casually. "In a day or two I'll be going on a business trip again. Please take care of Shanshan." "Don't worry, Captain Tang." Mu Qiqi understood what Tang Yen meant. She was not afraid of anything else, but Qing Bin's matter made Tang Yen very afraid. He was afraid that Qing Bin would take advantage of his absence to attack Feng Shanshan. Although Tang Yen did not say it explicitly from his tone, Mu Qiqi could tell that this man seemed to have seen through life. Nothing could affect him anymore, but Mu Qiqi felt that Feng Shanshan's importance would definitely surpass his own life. Heartless people were often the most affectionate. Of course, Tang Yen also took her suggestion seriously. Following Xing Kai was indeed a way. Not only could he investigate Xing Kai, but he could also monitor Third Master Long. It was just that he had already handed over this matter, so he could not do it openly. Or rather, he could directly tell this suggestion to the people in the narcotics department. But he himself also needed a reliable informant, because it concerned his and Feng Shanshan's lives, so he could not be careless. Actually, if it were not for this, Mu Qiqi really wanted to see how Third Master Long would cause trouble for Xing Kai. This was also worth looking forward to, wasn't it? "Qiqi, what are you doing? Come and help me." The professor's back hurt. The other forensic doctors were out in the field, so he called Mu Qiqi over to help the professor. Xing Kai knew that he had to deal with the aftermath of these two matters. So, after dealing with Gu Xiling, he called his godfather and made an appointment for dinner. At this time, only his godfather could save his life. Chapter 743. Xing Kai's godfather's surname was Jin, and his name was Bo. Although he was his godfather in name, Xing Kai had only seen him a few times. It was not easy for his godfather to give him the honor of eating. Xing Kai was very attentive, but this godfather had a kind face and never put on airs. He was always kind and pleasant to Xing Kai. "I know you don't like exaggerated things, so I brought you here. Kai, you have to remember that if you want to keep your position for a long time, you have to understand one thing. Keeping a low profile and being inconspicuous is the best protection." As Jin Bo drank his tea, he said to him earnestly, "Tell me, what do you want me to help you with this time?" "Last time, the matter with the Sheng family failed. Now the police are investigating me and Third Master Long also wants to deal with me. So, I came to seek protection from you, Godfather." Xing Kai poured tea for Jin Bo and said humbly, "I can't hold my head up in front of my wife's family. I can't be a good person." "I see." Jin Bo was deep in thought. "You don't have to worry about the police, but Third Master Long might make you suffer a little. Bring some gifts and personally apologize. We're all friends, right? There's no need to make a big fuss." Xing Kai understood what Jin Bo meant and immediately thanked him. "Thank you for your guidance, Godfather. You still have a lot to learn. There's no rush. Take your time." Xing Kai smiled apologetically and ate with the old man attentively. He guessed that his aptitude was very mediocre to Jin Bo, but his godfather was willing to spend time and energy on teaching him. This meant that he might have other uses for Jin Bo, but even he did not know this use. No matter what, he had to solve the current desperate situation first. As for your wife, a man has a career so he can naturally conquer a woman. It's been like this since ancient times. Don't worry. Since you've acknowledged me as your godfather, I will definitely not mistreat you. Take out your shares in Huang Yao and I'll teach you how to make other investments. Then I'll thank you, Godfather." After hearing Jin Bo's words, Xing Kai felt at ease. Of course, he would also do as Jin Bo said and personally visit Third Master Long to deal with the matter. He had messed up dealing with the Sheng family. If he did not know how to deal with the aftermath, then he would really be useless. After eating with Jin Bo, it was already around 11 o'clock at night when he returned home. Gu Xiling saw that he reeked of alcohol and questioned him, "You still dare to go out to drink and fool around in your current state? Do you think that Grandpa will unconditionally indulge you?" Xing Kai did not say anything. He dragged her out of the room and locked her outside the door. Gu Xiling was infuriated. She knocked on the door so hard that even Mama Gu and Grandpa Gu came over. "What now?" Grandpa Gu asked Gu Xiling. Grandpa, look at this scumbag. He locked me outside the door and didn't let me in. Not only did he go out to drink and fool around, but he also treated your grandson like this. Before Gu Xiling could cry out, Grandpa Gu slapped her in the face, leaving her dumbfounded. Can you stop looking for trouble every day? Can you act like a rich young lady? Do you know that your husband went out to see Godfather? You're so annoying every day. Even if you're not tired, I'm tired for you. Gu Xiling, if you don't want to live a good life, you can leave this house. I won't stop you. If you continue to shout and shout at home, you can get lost. Gu Xiling was dumbfounded by her grandfather's words. She covered her face and did not dare to say another word. You don't know what's good for you. Then Grandpa Gu pulled Mama Gu away and returned to their respective rooms. Gu Xiling could only stare at her bedroom door with hatred. Shenkai, you're good. No one can humiliate me, Gu Xiling. Don't you want a child? Fine, I'll make you a cuckold, and you're even raising a child for someone else. Of course, Gu Xiling had always liked strong men the most. She was unwilling to get pregnant with any one of them. A strong man should be like this. In her heart, there was only Xing Xiao. But Xing Xiao would never have anything to do with her. Don't even dream about it. Mu Qiqi borrowed it from the forensics department for a day. Actually, this was not a complicated case. The deceased was a 23-year-old woman who had just graduated from an ordinary university. She worked in an accounting company from 9 to 5 every day and had a regular boyfriend. The cause of death was poison. Because she had just broken up with her boyfriend, she had been dead for more than 10 days. She died in her bed at home. In addition to the suicide note and the fact that there were no fingerprints in the room, this matter was naturally classified as a suicide. However, the professor had borrowed her, which meant that the professor still had doubts about this matter. Mu Qiqi and the professor carefully examined the body together. After that, Mu Qiqi and Officer Long went to the scene. There are so many of us. We've looked at the scene over and over again, but we didn't find anything suspicious. I don't believe that the branch office can't do without Xiaoqi. Senior brother Long was a little unconvinced. It's not that the branch office can't do without me, but you guys are really too careless. Captain Tang isn't here and the professor can't bear to see you guys like this. Mu Qiqi smiled and explained, it's almost 12 o'clock and I'm still here with you guys. I haven't even complained and you guys are complaining. Then did you find anything? Do you know why the professor called me over? Because he found out something from the deceased. The day before she committed suicide, she had gone to get her nails done. Did she want to die beautifully? If that's the case, why didn't she put on makeup before she took the poison? Mu Qiqi explained to Officer Long. Second, I found on the deceased's computer that she had searched for a travel guide to Saipan before she died. Third, as you said, she had a boyfriend, but when the forensic doctor came to investigate, he found that the room was clean. Even the deceased's fingerprints were almost erased. Don't you think it's strange? So, it's not that I have any special abilities, but that you guys are really careless. Mu Qiqi patted Senior Brother Long's shoulder helplessly. Senior Brother Long was stunned for a moment. He really couldn't find anything to refute. So, according to you and the professor, this matter isn't a suicide? The professor and I came to that conclusion after analyzing it, but after Captain Tang saw the scene he called me over. Isn't he even scarier? You mean that Captain Tang also thinks that this case isn't simple? Mu Qiqi chuckled. It was probably because Tang Yan's experience in handling cases was already rich enough. Chapter 744. The reason why Tang Yan called Mu Qiqi over was naturally because he realized that things were not simple. As for how it was not simple and who was involved, these were the future direction of the Special Investigations team. Otherwise, Tang Yan would have concluded this case a long time ago. Why would he go through so much trouble? Mu Qiqi left the deceased's apartment and saw Xing Zhao's car waiting downstairs. Mu Qiqi took off her smelly coat and drove to the door. She saw Xing Zhao holding the documents in his hand. Among the documents was the set of bookmarks she had given him. However, this bookmark looked smoother than when she made it. Moreover, it was sealed with plastic. Is this the set of bookmarks I gave you? Xing Zhao closed the documents and clipped the bookmarks. I've already given it to you. It has nothing to do with you. Mu Qiqi pouted and could not help but sigh. Stingy. At most, I'll make another set for myself. Don't you dare. Xing Zhao threw a clean towel on her head. There can only be one set of this. After hearing this, Mu Qiqi could not help but smile. She raised her head and deliberately acted cute. So precious. All right, I won't make this. I'll make something else. Xing Zhao did not say anything else. He only instructed Su Che to drive immediately. Su Che smelled the strange smell on Muchichi's body. Just like Xing Xiao, he did not even frown now because he was used to it. After all, the corpse had been dead for more than 10 days. It was spring now. The stench must have seeped into her bones. Muchichi knew that, so when she returned home, she stayed in the bathroom for 2 whole hours. It was so long that Xing Xiao thought that she had fallen asleep in the bathtub, so he took her bathrobe and entered the house. "You've been bathing for too long. Come out." Xing Xiao grabbed her arm and dragged her out of the water. Then he wrapped her in the bathrobe. Muchichi's hands were wrinkled. She was a little helpless. "It's only spring now. If it's summer, it'll be even scarier. Your car will be filled with my smell." Zhongting's biotechnology company is already speeding up the development of products to remove odors. The perfume I made for you previously will be kept everywhere in the future. Xing Xiao hugged her and sat on the sofa. He dried her hair for her and sniffed it when it was half dry. "This imported shampoo is still very effective. Which girl doesn't want to smell good?" Muchichi felt that it was a pity. The worst thing about being a forensic doctor was this charming smell. But when I thought that the deceased had a lot of secrets to share, I felt that there was nothing to complain about. This is the mission of a forensic doctor. Muchichi leaned against his chest and tried to suck in his scent. "You smell so good." After Xing Xiao heard that, he took the hairdryer and dried her hair. "I'll let you smell as much as you want later." On the other hand, Tang Yen had just returned home. Muchichi was only a forensic assistant, but he had to take charge of the overall situation. Feng Shanshan made supper and heard about the investigation process from Tang Yen. Both he and Muchichi found something unusual about the deceased. However, the confession of the deceased's boyfriend matched the evidence. In other words, the boyfriend was not a suspect at all. In that case, there must be another reason for the deceased's suicide. Muchichi only found this part. When Tang Yen investigated the scene for the first time, he found a name card under the bed of the deceased. He didn't tell anyone. Instead, he asked old Qing to verify the other party's identity. He realized that it seemed difficult to investigate this matter further. Haven't we encountered this type of case before? We have to continue investigating from the deceased's social circle. He must have contacted someone else. Feng Shanshan leaned on the table and watched Tang Yen eat supper. Tang Yen did not say anything. When Feng Shanshan saw this, she immediately guessed. "You have a clue, right? It's just that no one said anything. Why aren't you eating?" Feng Shanshan looked at it in disdain and replied, "It's precisely because I made it myself that I feel it's very greasy. It looks a little unbearable. Don't change the topic. Do you know something? Don't ask any more. I'll ask the chief tomorrow." After Tang Yen said that, he stood up and cleaned up the dishes. Feng Shanshan took a deep breath and did not ask further. However, she felt an uncomfortable feeling in her stomach. In the future she would make something light. After eating supper, it was already 1:30 in the morning. The two of them lay on the bed. Feng Shanshan was already in a daze and was about to fall asleep. However, Tang Yen suddenly said to her, "I'm going on a business trip again." "Yes, I know," Feng Shanshan said. "I saw you packing your luggage just now. I thought we'll come back safely. I'll try my best not to get hurt." Tang Yen hugged Feng Shanshan and promised seriously. "You just have to focus on your classes and study hard. It won't happen. When I come back, I'll tutor you well." "Don't be so smug. You won't. There's still the professor." "I'm not so bad that I can't even find someone to ask me questions," Feng Shanshan said softly. "When I'm not around, don't go out casually. If there's anything, discuss it with Muchichi. If you keep nagging, don't sleep." Feng Shanshan turned over and lay on Tang Yan's body, pressing her leg against a certain part of the man. Tang Yan did not hold back and took back his sovereignty. Anyway, he would leave at dawn, so he allowed them to be crazy all night. The next morning, Tang Yan got up, kissed Feng Shanshan's forehead, and left with his luggage. Although Feng Shanshan wanted to send him off, her entire body was sore and weak, so she could only lie down obediently. However, after sleeping for a whole day, she did not get better. In the evening, Feng Shanshan called Muchichi. "Chi, come over when you're free. I'm not feeling well." Only then did Muchichi remember that Captain Tang was already on a business trip. So after school, she immediately rushed to Feng Shanshan and Tang Yan's house. Feng Shanshan was lying on the bed, her face pale. Muchichi touched her forehead and found that she was having a fever. Then she looked at the marks on her body and immediately understood. "Did you go overboard last night?" "I have abdominal pain," Feng Shanshan said with difficulty. "It's never happened before. The doctor is on the way. Bear with it a little longer. Mu Chichi boiled water for her and wiped her face. When the doctor arrived, she immediately stood to the side. Of course, in order to avoid suspicion, Mu Chichi found a female doctor. She squatted by the bed and observed Feng Shanshan for a while. Finally, she asked her, "When was the last time you had your period?" Feng Shanshan thought for a moment and shook her head. "I don't remember, but there's a record on my phone. I suggest you go to the hospital for a checkup. I suspect that she doesn't have a cold or a fever. She's pregnant." When the two of them heard this, their eyes widened. Especially Feng Shanshan, she immediately propped herself up from the bed. "Oh, that's possible?" Chapter 745. Of course. Feng Shanshan was very sure at first, but when she said the second half of her sentence, she began to hesitate. Because there were a few times when she and Tang Yen were crazy, she wasn't sure if Tang Yen was wearing contraceptives. But when she thought about it seriously, Tang Yen was such a careful person. It was impossible for him to forget about it. "Get up," Mu Chichi said hatefully. "I'll take you to the hospital for a checkup now. I think the doctor might have misdiagnosed us. We have contraceptives. You were hesitating just now, but now you're sure?" Mu Chichi glared at her and found some clothes for her. "We'll know after the checkup." Seeing that Mu Chichi was like a long-winded old woman, Feng Shanshan had no choice but to get out of bed and get up. "It's only the first day Captain Tang left. Is this how you take care of yourself? He has to bear a lot of responsibility for my actions." Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes. That person knew that he was going to leave early this morning, so he let go last night. Therefore all her discomfort was because of that man. Mu Chichi didn't want to talk nonsense with her, so she brought her to the hospital and planned to go to the obstetrics and gynecology department. Feng Shanshan felt that it was unlikely because she thought about it carefully. Tang Yen had contraceptives, but looking at her period records, she didn't have the confidence to reply to Mu Chichi. Because of her period, it was almost half a month late. "If you really have a child, what do you plan to do?" On the way to the hospital, Mu Chichi asked Feng Shanshan, who was leaning against her. "With your current situation and Captain Tang's situation, are you going to have a baby or not?" "Yes," Feng Shanshan answered firmly. "The child of the man I love. He didn't betray me or abandon me. Why shouldn't I have a baby? Moreover, the last abortion has already damaged my body. If I don't have a baby, I'm afraid that no baby will be willing to be reincarnated with me in the future. You're living a much crazier life than me now. If it were me, I wouldn't be able to say that." Mu Chichi still glared at her. "Maybe the situation isn't as bad as I think. We'll talk about it after the checkup. I still remember telling Tang Yen that no matter how hard he fought outside or how he abandoned me, I wouldn't complain. But I only hope that when I give birth, he can be by my side. I found a criminal police officer. I know what I have to face, and I know that what I have to face is different from others." Feng Shanshan replied calmly. She had already prepared herself thousands of times in her heart. She was very clear-headed. "Don't you think about yourself? Mu Chichi, if it were you today and Tang Yen was Xing Xiao, it would be strange if you could still ask such a question. You would only do something even crazier than me." The two of them had been rivals for a long time, so they knew each other's thoughts very well. Mu Chichi did not say anything because she suddenly thought of Lu Qianqian. How could she have so many friends like that? Soon Su Che sent them to the hospital. After paying for the checkup, Mu Chichi followed him into the ultrasound room. "Do you see that? The small dot in the middle is the pregnancy sac. Congratulations, you're pregnant." The doctor pointed at the floating image and told Feng Shanshan. Feng Shanshan was stunned for a moment, and so was Mu Chichi. "But your current condition is not very good. I suggest you do a comprehensive checkup to ensure the health of the mother and the fetus." The doctor handed the results to Mu Chichi and gave her family a suggestion. Even now, Feng Shanshan felt that her body was light and did not feel real at all. This was a completely different feeling from before. This time she was pleasantly surprised and happy because the child in her stomach was Tang Yan's child, the crystallization of her and Tang Yan. When she came out of the ultrasound room, Mu Chichi saw Feng Shanshan smiling and knew what she was thinking. However, as her mother's family, Mu Chichi also felt that this was a happy event. However, she was more worried about Feng Shanshan. She was not like Xing Bowen and Ren Yufei who let nature take its course. That was what everyone wanted. Feng Shanshan had already lost her studies for Tang Yen. She was already in danger. Not only did she follow Tang Yen without a name, but she was also pregnant. Tang Yen also went on business trips every now and then. Even though she was living in the safest area in Jianchuan, there was no one by her side who could take care of and protect her. How much did she care about Tang Yan that she was willing to take such a huge risk to give birth to a new life? You're still laughing. Mu Qiqi was furious. Do you know your current situation? I can't cry. Feng Shanshan patted Mu Qiqi's shoulder to comfort her. Trust me. If it were you, you would do the same for Xing Xiao. Don't talk about me so easily. My man won't let me get pregnant in such a difficult environment. Mu Qiqi snorted. Now let's go for a full body checkup. If you want to be hospitalized, you have to stay in the hospital obediently. You're not allowed to go anywhere. Speaking of which, I'm really thankful for the money old Master Xing gave me. I don't have to worry about money now. You're still talking about it? If she wasn't pregnant, Mu Qiqi would have really hit her. In order to accompany Feng Shanshan for the checkup, Mu Qiqi specially applied for leave. Progesterone, genetic diseases, and she stayed in the hospital for the whole day. Of course, Tang Yan was on a business trip and was now isolated from the world. It didn't seem realistic to tell him immediately. Fortunately, you guys went too far last night and didn't hurt the child. But the doctor also said that you have to stay in the hospital for 3 days. Mu Qiqi, has anyone told you that you're really naggy? Feng Shanshan lay on the bed and couldn't help but laugh as she looked at Mu Qiqi's wrinkled face. Then who is it for? I transferred the 5th aunt who took care of me to take care of you. She's very good at taking care of your body. My problems in that area were all solved by her diet therapy. Mu Qiqi began to arrange Feng Shanshan's life. Before Captain Tang comes back, you're not allowed to go anywhere other than the hospital and home. If you really care about this child, be obedient. Okay, I'll listen. Feng Shanshan nodded seriously. This was not a joke. Seeing that she really liked the arrival of this child, Mu Qiqi was also discouraged. The anger in her heart couldn't be vented no matter what, so she said, with Captain Tang's situation, I don't expect him to take good care of you. But since you have a child, there are some things that have to be done. I'm not stupid. I won't not ask for help when I know it's dangerous or deliberately run into a knife. Don't worry, Feng Shanshan promised. Chapter 746. Seeing how nervous Mu Qiqi was, Feng Shanshan smiled. Although the two of them had always been enemies in this world, even Tang Yan did not treat her as well as Mu Qiqi did. Say, why do you dote on an opponent so much? Feng Shanshan could not help but ask. If I were you, it would be so easy to just let it go. Stop being sarcastic. I'll make a call now. Lie down and rest. Mu Qiqi took out her phone and wanted to call 5th aunt. However, just as she got up, she was stopped by Feng Shanshan. So, she turned her head and heard Feng Shanshan's words. For the first 20 years, I've been living an absurd life. I thought that being alone and having fun was the best explanation for life. However, I met you in Tang Yan. You're a saint and a righteous person. You actually made me have the thought of becoming a Buddha. So, I've turned over a new leaf and had a new life. I don't have parents or other relatives. I've done many bad things and in the end I even suffered retribution. So, other than this child, I only have you two now. Today, I'm pregnant with Tang Yan's child. I don't regret it. If you're in danger in the future, I'll go through fire and water. This is also the truth. So, as long as it's for you, I'll do my best to protect you. So what if the situation is difficult? As long as I'm alive, nothing is a big deal. Do you think I'll be safe just because I took a step back and aborted the child? I just want to give myself and Tang Yan a home. After all, before he met me, he didn't have a home either. Mu Qiqi could not help but feel touched by Feng Shanshan's sudden words. She used to have nothing and she used to worry about gains and losses. However, as long as it was for Xing Xiao, she could give up everything. Because they loved one person with all their heart. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. With a friend like me and a man like Captain Tang, what else do you want? With all the sins you've committed before, you should be content to have such a blessing. Mu Qiqi turned her head and snorted. I'll be back soon. Rest well. After leaving the ward, Mu Qiqi had a strong desire in her heart. She had to help Feng Shanshan keep the child. So, in order to ensure Feng Shanshan's safety, she would do anything. Soon, 5th aunt received the notice and was also willing to go to the hospital to take care of pregnant women. After all, that was her specialty. Not only that, but Mu Qiqi also arranged for bodyguards to protect Feng Shanshan before Tang Yan came back. Because of these trivial matters, Mu Qiqi was busy for the whole day. When she dragged her tired body home, Xing Xiao hooked his finger at her. Mu Qiqi immediately leaned on Xing Xiao and let out a long sigh of relief. It's all thanks to my husband's diligence that I have so much money to spend. That's why I can get things done so easily. Husband, you've worked hard. Xing Xiao looked down at her little head. He did not know what she was thinking. Do you have something to ask of me? You should know that Feng Shanshan is pregnant. I want to ask if Zhongting has the relevant department to develop a positioning system. I want to get a set for her to monitor her safety. That's just a small matter, Xing Xiao replied. There's no need for a separate research and development department. Why are you so easy to talk to today? Usually if I care about Feng Shanshan for even a second, you'll pull a long face. But you didn't today. Have you changed? Xing Xiao and Tang Yen had an agreement to help take care of each other's women. Therefore he naturally had to spare no effort in protecting Feng Shanshan. Otherwise, how could Feng Shanshan give fifth aunt whenever she wanted and a bodyguard whenever she wanted? I'll let Su Che handle this matter. Is there anything else? Not for the time being. Also, I'm very envious of her. Mu Qiqi leaned on Xing Xiao and whispered the latter half of her sentence. I'm extremely envious that she can give birth to a child for the man she loves. Don't you know that giving birth is very painful? Xing Xiao stroked her hair and asked. Of course I know, but I'm also envious. I don't know how long I have to wait before I can give birth to a baby for you. Mu Qiqi propped herself up and looked at Xing Xiao regretfully. I can't let you be a father when you're almost 30, right? What did you say? Xing Xiao immediately pinched Mu Qiqi's cheek and asked. I didn't mean to say that you're old. Xing Xiao pinched her even harder when he heard that. Let go. I really want to give birth to a child for you. I want to see you be a father. There'll be plenty of chances in the future. There's plenty of time in the future. Xing Xiao let go and let Mu Qiqi lie down again. We'll talk about this in the future. We'll talk about it in the future. Xing Xiao looked at her indignant head and smiled helplessly. Giving birth to a child and giving birth to a new life required a lot of responsibility and energy. She could still enjoy her freedom in her own time now, but she still didn't know how to be content. To a man, it was just a matter of sperm, but he had to torture his woman for so long. He felt afraid when he thought about it. Xing Xiao, who clearly did not care about anyone and did not care about any danger, was very careful when it came to Mu Qiqi. In fact, his wish was very simple. He wanted Mu Qiqi to be healthy and stay by his side for a long time. This was the difference between a man and a woman. Women could give very little to men. The only way they could prove that they loved this man was to be willing to give birth to a child for him. At least, Feng Shanshan was like this, and so was Mu Qiqi. In the evening at Third Master Long's manor, Xing Kai came with a gift. From the looks of it, he was planning to ask for forgiveness. When Third Master Long heard that it was Xing Kai, he sneered. I didn't go look for him, but he came knocking on my door first. Therefore he signaled with his eyes for Qing Bin to go and investigate first. Originally he had planned to leave this matter to Qing Bin. Qing Bin knew that if he wanted a chance to take revenge, he had to rely on Third Master Long. Therefore he obeyed his orders and put away his respect in front of Third Master Long. He walked out of Third Master Long's manor fiercely. When Xing Kai saw him appear, he wanted to go forward and greet him, but Qing Bin kicked him to the ground. You still have the face to come? It's a misunderstanding. This is all a misunderstanding. I came here today to ask for forgiveness. I also brought a small gift. I hope Third Master Long won't hold a grudge. Xing Kai sat on the ground and quickly explained while asking his follower to open the box. When Qing Bin saw so much cash, he hesitated for a moment before returning to the manor to ask for instructions. Chapter 747. Since you're here to make peace, then let's meet. After all, you can go against anyone but money. Third Master Long wiped his hands as he answered Qing Bin. These young masters of the Sheng family are really interesting. Qing Bin looked at Third Master Long and did not say anything, because he saw Third Master Long's undisguised love for power and benefits. Then Xing Kai entered the manor. As expected, he brought a whole box of good things and offered them to Third Master Long. Third Master Long was shocked by this incident, so I specially came here to apologize to you. I hope that you won't hold a grudge against me. Third Master Long glanced at Xing Kai and laughed mockingly. You and your other two brothers are really different. Xing Xiao, let's not talk about it for now. Second young master actually let the idiotic third young master ride on his head. It's really unbelievable. To tell you the truth, my third brother isn't stupid at all. He and eighth brother were just acting to cause you to misunderstand me, Xing Kai quickly explained. After Third Master Long heard this, he laughed again. You brothers are indeed a headache. However, since you came today, I can let bygones be bygones. However, in the future, I hope that second young master can understand what it means to mind your own business. No, third master, I'm not here today just to apologize. I hope to cooperate with you. Second young master, you must be joking. Why should I offend Zhongting for you? Third master Long did not think much of it. Third master needs protection, don't you? As long as you cooperate with me, I guarantee that what you're doing now will only be smoother than before because there's someone behind me. At this point, Sheng Kai whispered a name into Third Master Long's ear. Third Master Long fell silent when he heard this. What do you want? I want the Sheng family to be destroyed. Sheng Kai directly stated his goal. Of course, revenge is only secondary. My ultimate goal is to establish a chain of common interests. Wait for me to think about it. I'll give you a reply. Third Master Long needed to think carefully. After all, Sheng Kai's offer was very tempting, but he had broken his oath not to interfere in other people's family affairs. He did not like to get involved in the grudges of rich families. I'm not in a hurry. Please accept my gift, Third Master. I'll take my leave first. Qing Bin, send the second young master off, Third Master Long instructed. Qing Bin nodded and escorted Sheng Kai out of Third Master Long's manor. At this time, Sheng Kai said to Qing Bin, I know you bear hatred, but Third Master Long is old and cunning. If you want a chance to take revenge, you can come to me. Young people will always have more common topics to talk about. What do you think? Qing Bin was stunned. It seemed that Sheng Kai had put in a lot of effort to come here. Moreover, he was right. Third Master Long kept avoiding the matter of avenging him. If he waited any longer, Tang Yen would be promoted again. This is my business card. Let's have a drink sometime. Sheng Kai left the things behind and turned to open the door of his car. Qing Bin looked at the business card and was indeed tempted. Sheng Kai was here to fish not only for Third Master Long the white shark, but also for Qing Bin the piranha. After all, he needed to quickly build his own faction and make the Sheng family see him in a different light. Late at night at the Sheng family home. For the past few days, Sheng Bowen had been holding Ren Yufei's hand and entering the house. It was as if he was afraid that others would not know that he already had a new wife, and they were very loving. This was really disliked by old Master Sheng. Can you restrain yourself when you're home? There are other people at home. Grandpa, we're newlyweds. You have to understand me. Sheng Bowen raised his and Ren Yufei's hands and said, We've had dinner outside. You don't have to call us later. Old Master Sheng rolled his eyes at him and continued to play chess with sixth brother. Ren Yufei felt that she had not done anything filial for old Master Sheng since she moved in, so she felt a little guilty. So, once she returned to her room, she said to Sheng Bowen, Should I do something for my family too? Sheng Bowen nodded. Sheng Bowen held her hand again and shook his head. Do you know why I've been sticking to you like this for the past few days? Ren Yufei shook her head. Because you're the young mistress of the Sheng family. I want everyone in the Sheng family to respect you and know your identity. It's good that you want to do something for your family, but even if you don't do anything, no one will blame you. Ren Yufei thought that he was just sticky and full of lust. She did not expect him to have such considerations. He was afraid that she would be bullied as soon as she entered the Sheng family. I think everyone is fine. I'm also willing to integrate into this family. That's because you haven't seen Xiao Qi when she first came to the Sheng family. The current Sheng family has already been trained by the couple, especially Grandpa. No matter what, as your husband, in order to protect my wife, there are some things I have to do. Ren Yufei was touched when she heard this. I really don't regret marrying you. I won't give you a chance to regret it. After saying that, Sheng Bowen's kiss came quickly. He did not give Ren Yufei any time to react. She knew that it would end up like this. This man had really been unrestrained in the past few days. However, she was willing to cooperate because she also longed for this man. So soon the two of them fell on the bed. Once they took off, it was out of control. If Mu Chichi knew that Sheng Bowen was so hungry after eating, she would definitely laugh her head off. After all, he would always talk about being in a mess. Just as the two of them were in high spirits, Sheng Bowen's phone rang in his ear. Sheng Bowen looked at the caller ID and threw his phone away. However, Ren Yufei took it back. Answer it. Chichi is looking for you. There must be something urgent. Sheng Bowen felt like killing someone at this moment. He could only lie down and pick up the phone. What's the matter? Mu Chichi wanted to ask if she wanted to prepare a set for Ren Yufei since she was making jewelry with a GPS system. However, she heard Sheng Bowen's magnetic voice. Mu Chichi immediately smiled. Did I disturb you and Secretary Ren? Fino, hurry up and hang up. Sheng Bowen couldn't take it anymore and his tone was very sad. Alright then, you guys continue. We'll talk tomorrow. Xing Bowen put down his phone and looked at Ren Yufei pitifully. Next time I'll find this time to call them. Why are you so stingy? We can continue. Ren Yufei was under him. Her face was crimson and she looked very alluring. Mu Qiqi never expected that Xing Bowen would look like that after getting rid of the old virgin. She found it extremely funny. Xing Xiao saw that she was overjoyed and picked her up from the sofa. You need a little punishment. Why? Mu Qiqi's eyes widened. Chapter 748. Xing Xiao was a man of strength and action. Mu Qiqi proposed to make jewelry with a GPS system, and Su Che was quickly ordered to deliver it to her. Mu Qiqi looked at the box and frowned. Why is there only one set? Although she did not tell Xing Bowen about this yesterday, she also had the idea of making it for Ren Yufei. Moreover, before going to bed last night, she had told Xiao Xiao about it. Feng Shanshan is in a hurry, so I'll give this set to you first. If every set is the same, it will easily arouse suspicion, so the other two sets are still being made, Su Che explained calmly. The engineering department has tried their best not to affect the human body too much, so Madam doesn't have to worry about safety. That's good. I'll send it to her at noon. Mu Qiqi replied with a smile. She did not notice that Su Che had mentioned that there were still two sets. A man like Xing Xiao was so protective. How could his woman not have one when others had one? She was just satisfied with that man's thoughtfulness. Everything had been arranged properly, and he had considered many details for her. Mu Qiqi put away the gift for Feng Shanshan's child and then received a call from Xing Bowen. It's already noon. Don't tell me you just woke up? Mu Qiqi teased. How could that be? I've been busy all morning and only managed to find the time. What did you want to ask me yesterday? Xing Bowen asked in a good mood. I don't want to say it now. You'll know when the time comes. Consider it my wedding gift to you. Then I'll thank you on behalf of Yufei. Mu Qiqi really could not stand the married Xing Bowen. He never forgot to show off his love, which gave people goosebumps. Therefore she rolled her eyes and quickly hung up on Xing Bowen. Xing Bowen did not know how he had offended Mu Qiqi. Just as he was about to ask, Ren Yufei knocked on the door and came in. She said to him, President, there's a visitor. Xing Bowen looked up and followed Ren Yufei's voice. He saw Papa Huan who ran behind her. The two of them were here to thank him. After all, Xing Bowen had saved the Hu family. I hope I didn't disturb third young master. Uncle, you're too polite. Xing Bowen smiled and gestured with his eyes for Ren Yufei to prepare tea for the guests. Seeing the sweet interaction between the two of them, Hu Ran had mixed feelings. She couldn't tell whether she was envious or jealous, or perhaps she also felt gratified. I came here today because I wanted to bring Xiao Ran here to thank you before she left. After all, the Sheng family helped us at the critical moment. Moreover, the accounting of the shares has been completed. The lawyer will come and talk to you another day. Although you said that you don't need to do that, it's not my way of doing things. I don't want my benefactor to suffer losses. Xiao Ran, are you leaving? Xing Bowen noticed the key point in Papa Hu's words. The Hu Corporation is entering the cosmetics industry. There's no one else in the family, so of course she has to shoulder her own responsibility. Papa Hu smiled. In 2 days she'll fly to France. Everything went well. Xing Bowen reached out to Hu Ran. Hu Ran held it with a smile and nodded. It said that French men are romantic and gentlemanly. I will definitely find a man who understands gentleness better than you. You're an unromantic blockhead. You really need a secretary to control you. Xing Bowen chuckled and nodded in agreement. You will definitely meet your true happiness. Take care. You too. The two of them smiled and completely let go of the past, especially Hu Ran. After understanding her feelings for Xing Bowen, she had expectations for true love. Seeing that Hu Ran could really let go, Xing Bowen felt very relaxed and gratified. After the father and daughter left, he held Ren Yufei in his arms and placed her on his legs. Ren Yufei was a little confused. They left just like that? I didn't even get to drink tea. I'm just very emotional. Xiao Ran has finally figured it out. I also hope that she can be happy. Ren Yufei hugged Xing Bowen's neck, and there was a smile in her eyes. She definitely will. In the future, it's finally a world that belongs to the two of us. I don't have to worry about you wavering in your determination to be with me because of these external factors. Ren Yufei's heart immediately warmed up. I'm already married. I won't regret it. After Xing Bowen heard this, he pressed Ren Yufei on the sofa and kissed her passionately. Ren Yufei felt a headache coming on. This man didn't care about the occasion at all. If someone came in and saw them, the company would be lively again. However, it was precisely because of this that she could feel Xing Bowen's incomparably passionate feelings for her. In the evening, there was a light drizzle. Mu Qiqi took the jewelry box to the hospital and found that Feng Shanshan was napping. When Fifth Aunt went to prepare dinner for Feng Shanshan, she whispered to Mu Qiqi, "Madam, Miss Feng doesn't seem to be in a good mood today." She secretly cried a few times. I asked her why, but she refused to tell me. When she wakes up, you can ask her properly. A pregnant person can't have too much emotional fluctuations. This is not good for the child. In the future, she will definitely regret it. Okay, Fifth Aunt, it's been hard on you. Mu Qiqi nodded. If only she was as obedient as you. Fifth Aunt sighed as she left with the food box. Mu Qiqi looked at Feng Shanshan's back as she lay on her side and thought that the only thing that could make Feng Shanshan's emotions fluctuate so much was Captain Tang. Pregnant women were sensitive to begin with. She didn't know if it was because she couldn't contact Tang Yen that Feng Shanshan was so fragile. Mu Qiqi waited for about half an hour before Feng Shanshan woke up. However, her face was pale as if she was enduring great pain. You're here. I haven't seen you for a day and you look so haggard. What happened? Mu Qiqi helped her up and asked carefully. The doctor told me that the child might not be able to be saved. I wanted to contact Tang Yen but I couldn't. I thought I was very strong, but when something really happened I could only cry secretly, Feng Shanshan explained. The doctor said it's possible. No matter what, they will do their best. So, your worry is unnecessary. Mu Qiqi glared at her. Captain Tang will be gone for about a week. It's only the second day now. How can you contact him? I understand how you feel now, but no matter how much you want to, you have to restrain yourself for the sake of the child. And you said you wouldn't let Captain Tang worry? Even ghosts would be afraid of you now. Feng Shanshan took a deep breath and looked at Mu Qiqi helplessly. Chapter 749. You have to know how much I envy you. Even if I want to have a child with Xing Xiao now, he won't let me. After Mu Qiqi said that, she took out the jewelry box from her bag and handed it to Feng Shanshan. What is it? Feng Shanshan took it and opened it. Seeing that it was jewelry, she looked at Mu Qiqi in confusion. Why did you give me this? There's a special device in this earring. There's a small locator. I was afraid that something would happen to you, so I asked Xiao Xiao to make this set. It won't affect you and the child. It's purely because I'm afraid of Qing Bin's revenge. Feng Shanshan hugged the jewelry box, crying and laughing at the same time. Her emotions were very complicated. Because you're also a woman, I definitely won't give up Tang Yen and marry you. Forget it. I still want my Xiao Xiao. Mu Qiqi looked at her disdainfully. I remember that the professor is Captain Tang's uncle. Since you're pregnant and I have to go to school, should I inform them? At least you can have more protection. The professor will be very happy. After I'm discharged, I'll tell them. It's too ostentatious to let them come to the hospital now, Feng Shanshan explained. Actually, there's no need to worry. You're staying in the colorectal department now. They won't think that you're pregnant. Mu Qiqi smiled. Feng Shanshan took out the earrings from the jewelry box and put them on. On Mu Qiqi's side, she was also making the corresponding link. Captain Tang isn't back, so only I can see this system. For the time being, no matter where you go, I'll keep an eye on you. My entire family's life is in your hands. The two of them chatted for a while, and Feng Shanshan's face became much rosier because she was gradually letting go of the burden in her heart. Fifth Aunt came back with the food and heaved a sigh of relief when she saw this. My wife is a happy person, right? Wherever she goes, she can make people feel relaxed. You eat. I'll go talk to the doctor. Mu Qiqi got up from the bed. Feng Shanshan nodded. She did not resist Mu Qiqi's concern. Mu Qiqi went to the obstetrics and gynecology department and found Feng Shanshan's attending doctor. The doctor roughly told her about Feng Shanshan's situation. Today, our doctor gave Miss Feng a more comprehensive physical examination and found that there's a possibility that she has uterine fibroids. Because of her pregnancy, the fibroids may grow, so she needs to be checked regularly. In the future, she'll need her husband to take care of her. Will it affect the fetus? How should I put it? There's a certain impact, but the current situation isn't much. If we pay attention to all aspects, the child can be delivered smoothly. When the time comes, we can also remove the uterine fibroids. As a medical student, Mu Qiqi knew the severity of the situation. Feng Shanshan herself knew that what hurt her was probably what the doctor said about needing her husband to take care of her. It was difficult for them to see each other every day. How could they take care of her? No matter how much she helped Feng Shanshan, there were many things that she could not do. No matter how careful fifth aunt was, she was still an outsider. It was impossible for her to replace Tang Yan's position in Feng Shanshan's heart. Therefore, she still wanted to tell Professor Tang about this. After all, he was Tang Yan's most important family member in the world. This way, Feng Shanshan could also feel the warmth of a family. Then that's it. I hope the doctor can take care of me. Thank you. Mu Qiqi thanked the doctor. After saying that, Mu Qiqi left the doctor's office. However, when she left the obstetrics and gynecology department, she met an acquaintance at the counter. It was Gu Xiling. The two of them saw each other, but they each had their own thoughts. There was no need to greet each other, so Mu Qiqi left the obstetrics and gynecology department. Gu Xiling took advantage of Xing Kai's absence to ask about the test tube. But why was Mu Qiqi here? Was she pregnant? Or did she have some gynecological disease? If that was the case, it would be good if she had cancer. Mu Qiqi did not want Gu Xiling to know about Feng Shanshan, so she did not go to the inpatient department to look for Feng Shanshan. She only called her. I saw Gu Xiling in the hospital just now. I don't want to be suspected and followed by her, so I won't come to look for you. Rest early and don't let your imagination run wild. Okay. Feng Shanshan nodded as she drank her soup. If you need anything, just tell fifth aunt. Also, I talked to the doctor just now. I think you should contact the professor now. They are Captain Tang's only family, and they will also be your family. What you need now is the warmth of a family. This is something I can't give you. I'll think about it myself. Mu Qiqi hummed in acknowledgement and hung up. She absolutely trusted fifth aunt, but taking care of her and taking care of Feng Shanshan were two different things. Feng Shanshan also hung up. She already understood what Mu Qiqi meant. Tang Yin was not around, so she had no spiritual sustenance. It was easy for her thoughts to run wild. If Tang Yan's family was by her side, she would feel very safe. But would the professor be happy? She was pregnant with Tang Yan's child. Feng Shanshan was very nervous, but after hesitating for 20 minutes, she still dialed Professor Tang's number. Shanshan? What's wrong? Professor, I'm in the hospital now. I'm pregnant with Tang Yan's child, Feng Shanshan said tentatively. Feng Shanshan said tentatively. She was afraid that the professor would have other thoughts and think that she was being too casual or something else. When the professor heard this, he immediately hung up. Feng Shanshan was stunned because she had thought of all kinds of possibilities in her mind, but she did not expect the professor to hang up directly. However, within a few seconds the professor called again. His tone was very anxious. Shanshan, which hospital are you in? I brought your aunt over to see you. I was in a hurry to hang up just now and forgot to ask the hospital. Feng Shanshan's heart suddenly came back to life, so she quickly reported the department and ward she was in. Professor Tang acted as if his daughter-in-law had a child. He was so anxious that he even forgot to change his shoes and directly brought his wife to the hospital. He found Feng Shanshan in the anorectal ward. Why are you in this department? Qiqi said that it's safe this way, Feng Shanshan explained to the professor. Good child. Mrs. Tang sat down by Feng Shanshan's bed and held her hand without any grudge. Since you're pregnant, we won't stay in the hospital anymore. Aunt will take you home and take good care of you. Fifth aunt thought that the professor and Mrs. Tang were Feng Shanshan's family, so she advised her, Miss Feng, no matter what, you have to stay by your family's side. No matter what, your family won't hurt you. But Feng Shanshan told Professor Tang and Mrs. Tang what the doctor said. Chapter 750. You haven't told Tang Yen, have you? The professor guessed that if Tang Yen knew, he would definitely contact him immediately to bring Shanshan home. I only found out after he went on a business trip, Feng Shanshan explained. It's okay. It's the same when he comes back, Professor Tang said happily. Your aunt is packing your things now. You can stay at our house for the time being so that she can take care of your body. I thought, you wouldn't like the child being born without a proper reason. We only feel that Tang Yen is thankful that he has a descendant. How can we be picky? The professor's eyes were wet. Other than you, who else would be willing to give birth to that brat's child? When he comes back, I must teach him a good lesson. He won't always take on those dangerous jobs. I'll make him think more about you and the child. Feng Shanshan voluntarily left with the professor. She also paid fifth aunt a sum of money. However, fifth aunt did not accept it. Madam has already paid me. Miss Feng, you don't have to pay me anymore. I'll feel bad if you do this. Feng Shanshan had not been honest with others for too long, so she only knew how to use money in such a vulgar way. Fortunately, she was not short of money. However, fifth aunt did not accept it, so she did not force her. However, she was grateful to Fifth Aunt. This was from the bottom of her heart. Late that night, Gu Xiling returned home after her checkup. She sat at home in a daze because she still felt that Mu Qiqi was not sick, but more likely to be pregnant. Why did you go to the hospital? Xing Kai questioned Gu Xiling as soon as he returned home. What tricks do you want to play to humiliate me again? Didn't you want me to get pregnant as soon as possible? I have to understand my physical condition. Gu Xiling looked at Xing Kai with hatred. If you can't give birth to a child, I'll suffer too. Hearing Gu Xiling's mocking words, Xing Kai pressed Gu Xiling onto the bed and warned her sternly, don't mock me in front of me in the future. Otherwise, I don't know what I'll do to you. Mu Qiqi is pregnant. What do you want me to think? Gu Xiling mocked. Mu Qiqi is pregnant? Xing Kai gradually loosened his grip on Gu Xiling. His expression was a little complicated. She's still a student. How could eighth brother get her pregnant? However, if she's really pregnant, it might be a great opportunity to deal with eighth brother. Go to the hospital again tomorrow and figure this matter out. Is Mu Qiqi really pregnant? I won't fall for your trick again. When the time comes, you'll blame it on me when you fail the mission, Gu Xiling said coldly. Xing Kai, I'm not your chess piece. Do you think you have a choice? Xing Kai pinched her chin hard and said, I'm going to take over Changrong Electronics soon. As the CEO's wife, you have to help your husband, right? Changrong is a cancer in the industry. Don't tell me you haven't heard of it? Godfather will naturally arrange everything. Also, when the house is settled, you will move out with me. Gu Xiling, I'm not asking for your opinion now. I'm just informing you. Gu Xiling looked at Xing Kai with extreme hatred. In her heart, Xing Kai would always be a pile of mud that could not be helped. Now that the so-called godfather was praising him so much, it must be because he still had some special value. Only Xing Kai was still complacent. Of course, Gu Xiling couldn't help but want to mock Xing Kai when she saw him like this. However, deep in her heart, she had always blamed everything on Mu Qiqi. If Mu Qiqi hadn't snatched Xing Xiao away back then, she wouldn't have been tortured like this. She felt that her marriage had been ruined by Mu Qiqi and Xing Xiao. If Mu Qiqi was really pregnant this time, she would definitely think of ways to let Mu Qiqi have a taste of miscarriage and not being able to give birth. So, the next day she went to the hospital again and asked about Mu Qiqi from the obstetrics and gynecology department. The doctor was unwilling to reveal Mu Qiqi's situation. After all, it involved other people's privacy. So, Gu Xiling spent a lot of money to ask the obstetrics and gynecology nurse. The nurse took the money and naturally told her the truth. Miss Mu is not pregnant, nor is she a patient. Then why did she come to the obstetrics and gynecology department? To see her friend. It's that Miss Feng who's pregnant, the nurse told her personally. When Gu Xiling heard this, she looked extremely disappointed. It wasn't Mu Qiqi who was pregnant, but Feng Shanshan. The money was really not worth it. After returning home, Gu Xiling didn't say a word. Whenever Xing Kai saw her putting on an act, he wanted to slap her. Even now, she was still putting on the airs of a young lady. How's the investigation? Mu Qiqi isn't pregnant and Mu Qiqi isn't the one seeing the doctor, Gu Xiling answered as she took out something from her bag. Then who is it? Feng Shanshan. Xing Kai also smiled when he heard Feng Shanshan's name. It's actually Feng Shanshan. That's good. I can give Qingbin a big gift. Gu Xiling didn't know that Xing Kai and Qingbin had met in private, nor did she know about the complicated relationship between Feng Shanshan, Tang Yan, and Qingbin. She only saw a scheming look in Xing Kai's eyes. Could it be that if Mu Qiqi wasn't pregnant, he wouldn't even let Feng Shanshan off? You're really unscrupulous. That's why you have to be obedient, Xing Kai warned Feng Shanshan. Feng Shanshan couldn't help but shiver. Mu Qiqi knew that Feng Shanshan had gone to Professor Tang's house, so she was naturally much more at ease. At least, Tang Yan would be easier to accept such an arrangement. Of course, the two of them still didn't know that Xing Kai had already told Qingbin about this. To Qingbin, grasping Tang Yan's weakness was equivalent to letting Tang Yan wait for death. However, now that Feng Shanshan had been taken away by Tang Yan's uncle, he could only put in some effort if he wanted to find an opportunity to attack her. Late at night, Mu Qiqi called Feng Shanshan. She wanted to know if she was being properly taken care of at the professor's house. Feng Shanshan was staying in Tang Yan's room when he was young. She felt very safe, so she answered Mu Qiqi, "There's no better arrangement than this." Smelling Tang Yan's scent and looking at Tang Yan's things, it was as if Tang Yan was by her side. This made her feel that she could rest peacefully. Perhaps the professor knew that she had this kind of mentality. Even though he knew that Tang Yan's room was very small, he still made some modifications and let Feng Shanshan stay there. Hearing Feng Shanshan's answer, Mu Qiqi finally felt relieved. Chapter 751. Got it? Why are you so naggy? Feng Shanshan said to Mu Qiqi in disdain. If you don't want me to nag, you have to remember it well, Mu Qiqi said patiently. She had worried a lot for this person and the child in her stomach. Feng Shanshan took a deep breath and looked like she had accepted her fate. I'll remember it. Mu Qiqi was satisfied with the answer and hung up. At that moment, Tang Yan's aunt entered Feng Shanshan's room with hot chicken soup. Child, drink it while it's hot. I've already removed the blisters for you. Don't worry, you won't get fat. Thank you, auntie. Feng Shanshan quickly sat up and took the porcelain bowl from her aunt. Tang Yan has a hard life. He lost his parents when he was young. For the first 30 years he was like a walking corpse. He didn't know who he was living for. It wasn't easy for him to get a girlfriend, but none of them treated him sincerely. Shanshan, you're the only one who doesn't care about anything and is willing to understand that kid. You don't know how much our family is grateful to you. As she spoke, Tang Yan's aunt started to wipe her tears. One could imagine how much she had worried for Tang Yan all these years. When your child is born in the future, just do what you want to do. We'll help you take care of the child. Thank you, auntie, Feng Shanshan said as she hugged the warm chicken soup. What are you thanking me for? You and the child aren't very stable yet, so I won't disturb you anymore. You should rest early. His uncle and I have been keeping this room for Tang Yan. Every time he comes over, he stays here, so I think you'll feel more at ease living here. Feng Shanshan nodded. Her words of gratitude were overflowing. However, before she went to bed, she still habitually dialed Tang Yan's number. Although his phone was still turned off at this moment, her heart was no longer as flustered as before. Instead, there was a hint of warmth. The next day, Mu Qiqi was still sleeping on the bed. Sheng Xiao took the jewelry that he had just made and put it on her wrist. When Mu Qiqi opened her eyes, she tugged at the chain on her wrist in a daze. Then she sat up and saw that the man was wearing a white shirt. So she got off the bed barefooted and hugged his waist. You're done so soon? The other set is in the study, Sheng Xiao replied calmly. It's not very exquisite because it's functional. I like the industrial style. Mu Qiqi shook the bracelet on her wrist. It was a pure black bracelet made of titanium steel. There were several unique geometric patterns hanging on it, each of which contained a great deal of meaning. By the way, when I went to the hospital to visit Feng Shanshan last night, I bumped into Gu Xiling. So, I plan to go to the hospital again today to check if this woman has asked about anything. After all, she's very curious about everything about us. Mu Qiqi was now more cautious than before. At that, Sheng Xiao turned and pinched Mu Qiqi's chin. You're spending more and more time on other people. I'm not happy. Stingy, but I haven't missed you at all. Mu Qiqi comforted the man. When I went to the hospital yesterday, I bought you some medicine to prevent stomach pain. You didn't eat lunch yesterday and only drank coffee. Don't think that I don't know. The medicine is in your bag. I'll give it to Su Che later. Did I install a GPS on your bracelet, or did you install a surveillance camera in my office? Sheng Xiao asked Mu Qiqi teasingly. The secretary is one of my people. You have to know that she will inform me of your every move through text messages. What's wrong? Sheng Xiao let go of Mu Qiqi's chin and was satisfied. I'll get it myself. I don't need Su Che to do it. Mu Qiqi knew that this trick would definitely work on him. Sheng Xiao put on his coat and went to the study. He pulled Mu Qiqi's bag and unzipped it. When he saw that there was really stomach medicine inside, he could not help but smile. He did not raise this little thing for nothing. She still knew how to dote on him. Xiao Xing was in a good mood. He was so happy throughout breakfast. It's not easy to have a weekend. When I come back from the hospital, I'll obediently go to Sonda class. Then I'll accompany you for lunch. In the afternoon I'll go to see Qian. I haven't contacted her for a long time. I don't know how she's doing. Got it? I'll ask Su Che to book a place. Xiao Xing wanted to maintain his pride. Mama Sheng heard their conversation and roughly knew what Mu Qiqi was busy with recently. So she suggested, Xiao Qi, if you don't think it's safe, bring your friend to our house. I can take care of her too. Mommy, there's no need. We'll all feel uncomfortable. I don't want you to be tired, Mu Qiqi quickly answered obediently. It really takes courage to be pregnant when you're still a student. No matter what, if you need anything, just tell me. Mu Qiqi knew that Mama Sheng was being kind. But both she and Feng Shanshan would feel uncomfortable. After breakfast, she went to the hospital as promised and asked Feng Shanshan's attending doctor. The attending doctor thought for a while and recalled Gu Xiling. There was a Miss Gu who came to ask if you were pregnant. I didn't reveal it to her. You know, this is a patient's privacy. It's not convenient for me to reveal it. However, I don't know if she asked someone else, the doctor explained to her. According to Gu Xiling's personality, she would definitely ask someone else. Moreover, she had no way of knowing if she had already found out. She had clearly failed so many times, but she still did not know how to stop. She always held on to the grudge from the past and refused to let go. Mu Qiqi was very helpless. Because she knew that Gu Xiling had always felt that she was the one who snatched Qing Xiao away. She was the one who snatched away the strongest man in Jianchuan. That was why Gu Xiling refused to let go of any opportunity to deal with them. However, if she found out that Feng Shanshan was pregnant, would there be serious consequences? She did not know what was going on with Sheng Kai and Third Master Long, so she did not go back to the branch office to ask. With a trace of worry, Mu Qiqi went to the mixed martial arts school. Even if she was anxious now, it would be useless. However, during lunch she frequently fell into a daze which made Xing Xiao quite dissatisfied. I just taught you a lesson this morning, and now you're being disobedient again? Xiao Xiao, what harm would it do if Xing Kai finds out that Feng Shanshan is pregnant? After Xing Xiao heard this, he put down his knife and fork and stared at Mu Qiqi. After a while he replied, according to the latest news, Xing Kai and Third Master Long should have buried the hatchet. If I were Xing Kai, I would still form an alliance with Third Master Long. Chapter 752. Mu Qiqi had to inform Feng Shanshan of her worries over the phone, but Feng Shanshan laughed it off. I don't go out now and I'm living in the military compound. Even if Cheng Bin wants to make a move on me, he has to find an opportunity. Feng Shanshan looked down at her abdomen and comforted Mu Qiqi. Besides, you can locate me no matter where I go. What's there to be afraid of? No, I won't be at ease until Captain Tang returns. The bodyguards will report to the professor's house tonight. Mu Qiqi insisted on being watertight. Even if you don't need it, the professor and his wife will. It's hard to guarantee that Qingbin won't find an opportunity to make a move on you and won't shift his target to someone else. Okay, I'll listen to you. Therefore, that night, the two young bodyguards reported to the professors downstairs on time. When Professor Tang saw this and heard Feng Shanshan's explanation, he smiled in relief. Xiaoqi is really loyal. It's your blessing to have a friend like her. I'm just afraid of causing you inconvenience. We all know about Qingbin's matter. There's nothing wrong with Xiaoqi being so cautious. Besides, she's not guarding at home, so there's nothing inconvenient about it. Professor Tang comforted Feng Shanshan. When Tang Yin comes back, ask him to quickly settle Qingbin's matter. Otherwise, we won't be able to rest assured if he threatens you all day. He also wants to settle it. However, Qingbin did not make a move and did not make any mistakes. As a police officer, he could not abuse law enforcement. Everything could only be decided after Tang Yin returned. Qingbin's men observed Professor Tang for an entire day. Not to mention making a move, they could not even see Feng Shanshan. In addition, Mu Qiqi had hired bodyguards. It was almost impossible for Qingbin to do anything before Tang Yin returned. Third Master Long noticed that Qingbin had been absent-minded the whole day, so he asked him, now that Tang Yin is a criminal police officer, he's surrounded by elite backbones at all times. His physical fitness and mind are also strong. In addition, he knows that you've been released from prison and is on guard everywhere. It's impossible for you to deal with him now. But Third Master, he's not a narcotics officer now, but he's still investigating the source of those things that appeared in Huangyao. Aren't you afraid? Qingbin asked Third Master Long, what am I afraid of? I'm a serious businessman now. Those messy things have nothing to do with me. I don't need to be afraid at all. On the other hand, you Qingbin can't bear to mess up big plans. If you don't have enough patience and can't wait until Tang Yin lets his guard down, then the prison door will open for you. Qingbin also understood this logic. However, Feng Shanshan was clearly Tang Yan's weakness. It was also a rare opportunity for him to take revenge on Tang Yin in the near future. Unfortunately, Feng Shanshan was surrounded by people who were not to be trifled with, and Mu Qiqi was the first to bear the brunt. No, it should be Xing Xiao who was standing behind Mu Qiqi. This man was not inferior to Tang Yin at all. In fact, in terms of scheming, he was invincible. Third Master, I've suffered a lot in prison for so many years. I once swore that if I can't cripple Tang Yin with my own hands, then the rest of my life will be in vain. I'm not afraid to tell you that Tang Yan's woman is pregnant. I've been observing her for a few days. Tang Yan isn't in Jianchuan, so I plan to use his woman to attack him. You don't want someone to stand behind you with a knife all the time, do you? So, no matter what, I won't give up this opportunity. I also hope that you can fulfill my wish. Of course, if you don't want to get involved, it's fine. I just hope that you won't stand in the way. When Third Master Long recruited Qing Bin, he knew that this person was not easy to control. He was a ticking time bomb. After Third Master Long heard this, he did not say anything. He only sighed faintly. If you fail, contact Uncle Chong. He can help you deal with the aftermath. Thank you, Third Master. After Qing Bin finished speaking, he cupped his fists and bowed. This was considered giving Third Master enough face and respect, but he would still do it. It didn't matter if Feng Shanshan hid and did not come out, but wasn't she pregnant? She had to go for a prenatal checkup, right? He did not believe that he could not seize the slightest chance. But how could Mu Qiqi not understand what he understood? Feng Shanshan would definitely not choose the same hospital for her prenatal checkup. At most, it would be a little more troublesome. At night, Mu Qiqi followed her usual practice of talking to Feng Shanshan. She was stricter than an old maid. In 2 days you'll be going for a prenatal checkup. I'll have to send more people. Am I pregnant with a national treasure? Feng Shanshan could not help but laugh. You're still laughing? It's my fault. If I hadn't gone to the doctor at that time, I might not have met Gu Xiling. Mu Qiqi silently blamed herself for this matter. What's there to blame? If it weren't for you, I might have been tied up by Qing Bin by now. Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes. Just rest well for 2 days. I promise you I'll be at home and won't go anywhere. Mu Qiqi was satisfied and hung up the phone. Behind her, Xing Xiao entered the door. His upper body was naked, and there were still sparkling water droplets hanging on it. When Mu Qiqi saw this, her body began to heat up. They had clearly been together for several years, but she was still tempted by him. How useless. Tomorrow, Sheng Kai will announce that he will be joining Changrong as the CEO, Xing Xiao told Mu Qiqi as he wiped his hair. Mu Qiqi naturally climbed onto the sofa and knelt behind Xing Xiao. She took his towel and wiped him. That Changrong, which has a very bad reputation and keeps pressuring its employees to commit suicide. What does he think? He needs to rise again. Su Che went to investigate. The Gu family has nothing to do with Changrong. This proves that there's someone behind him. What exactly is he doing this for? To catch up to you? Then it's impossible for him to do so in this lifetime, Mu Qiqi said confidently. Mu Qiqi said confidently. If he just wants to suppress Huang Yao, it'll be difficult. After all, third brother may look like a bronze, but he's a fool with a fool's luck. He's surrounded by kings. Now, other than unwillingness, the only thing that can support him is hatred. If he loses these goals, his life will lose half of its meaning. Xing Xiao combed his hair, hugged Mu Qiqi's lazy waist and put her in his arms. Mu Qiqi leaned into Xing Xiao's arms and blinked at him. I still have to go out later. Ha. Chapter 753. Xing Xiao did not say anything. He simply got up and sat down on the bed. You really have a lot of people to worry about, he said slowly. Mu Qiqi felt sour at those words. She took off her clothes, jumped onto the bed and hugged Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao was stunned. He looked down at the woman on top of him. Aren't you going out? I'm not going out. I'm suddenly sleepy. Xing Xiao pushed her hand away and snorted coldly. Lu Qianqian is waiting. She's so busy now. She wouldn't have time to wait for a little forensic doctor like me. I sent her a message and she said she'll see you another day. Mu Qiqi explained with her eyes half closed. Xing Xiao was still unmoved. Aren't you going to care about her relationship with Lin Mu, An? Mu Qiqi knew that he was still jealous. She did not say anything and simply crawled under the blanket. Xing Xiao suddenly took a deep breath. He lifted the blanket and grabbed the naughty little thing. Are you asking for a beating? Mu Qiqi loved listening to Xing Xiao's angry and lustful voice the most. It made her whole body go numb and her brain feel so comfortable that it was completely out of control. You're ignoring me. Why do you care? Mu Qiqi said vaguely. Xing Xiao grabbed her arm and pulled her to him. Who asked you to do that? Where did you learn it? I just want you to be happy. Mu Qiqi blushed. She was a little shy at first but soon regained her bashful look. You're my man. I love every part of your body. What's wrong? Xing Xiao scrunched up his face. I don't need you to please me. But, don't you want to? What Xing Xiao could not stand the most was Mu Qiqi's expression right now. She was asking so seriously and her eyes were misty, making it impossible for him to refuse her. So he turned around and regained his sovereignty. I won't be able to handle it if you go and look at something weird again, little one. Even if I look at something weird, it's only for you. With those words, a night of entanglement was inevitable. It was as if Xing Xiao could never have enough of this little one. They were already an old couple, but he was still so hungry. Of course, this thing still had some eyesight. It could see through his anger at a glance, and it also knew to come and coax him at the first instance. After verifying it in many ways, it was indeed not in vain. As for Lu Qianqian, she was going to talk about a collaboration that day, so she rejected Mu Qiqi. It was fair for each of them. Although she and Xiao Qi had not seen each other for a long time, they were like old friends and did not feel distant at all. She understood Mu Qiqi. She did not go out last night because she was held back by someone and could not move. Well, she was used to Mu Qiqi prioritizing her lover over her friends. This was the 5th day since Tang Yan left. Logically speaking, he should be returning within these 2 days. Feng Shanshan wanted to wait for him to come back before going for a prenatal checkup. However, if he didn't come back, what would happen if the baby in her stomach was delayed? Therefore, after much consideration, she discussed with the professor and decided to go to the hospital first to ensure the safety of the mother and child. In the morning when she was going to the hospital, Feng Shanshan called Mu Qiqi. She also applied for leave and sent more bodyguards to protect Feng Shanshan. When Qingbin saw this, he knew that his plan could not be carried out again. It was all because of Mu Qiqi's tricks. Who was this to her? Why did she have to protect her so well? Qingbin felt indignant just thinking about it. However, in the blink of an eye, Mu Qiqi had sent all the bodyguards to Feng Shanshan. In other words, the old couple at home were alone. It was not that he did not have a chance, so he changed his route. Although he might not be able to do anything to Feng Shanshan, he could still think of many ways to deal with this pair of old things. According to the observation of the people he sent, Professor Tang always drove to the branch office by himself. The route was also the same and had never changed. However, the traffic on that road was complicated, so there were not many places to start. On the other hand, Tang Yan's aunt always went out alone and did not like to drive, so she could be a target. However, he had underestimated Mu Qiqi's intelligence. After all, Mu Qiqi was a forensic doctor and had dealt with criminals of different levels. She would also make assumptions and think about what these criminals were thinking. Now that the entire family's attention was on Feng Shanshan, it would not be easy for Professor Tang and his wife to attract the attention of others. The chances of attacking them were much higher. Qingbin had this in mind, so he was at ease not far from the entrance of the courtyard to observe when Tang Yan's aunt went out. Not long after Feng Shanshan left, her aunt also went out with the information. She was used to taking a car because it was environmentally friendly. When they passed through the narrow alley, Qingbin signaled to the helper in the car to drive over and kidnap her into the car. And the helper did so. However, it was at this moment that a white car suddenly blocked the path of the small truck and picked up Tang Yan's aunt. When Qingbin saw this, he immediately retreated. Because he knew that he was also being targeted. Was Mu Qiqi again. Not only that, but when Qingbin left, he also received a note from an adult. The handwriting on it was beautiful, and it was obvious that it was written by a woman. It was so difficult to get out of prison, and as soon as you got out of prison, you had the idea of hitting a pregnant woman. Do you want to go back immediately? Qingbin was so angry that he tore the note to shreds. Because he suddenly understood that he was too stupid. He had come to alert the enemy before everything was ready. This was clearly the behavior of a reckless man. How could he have schemed against Tang Yan? He was too impulsive and overconfident. Or perhaps he had become stupid after being in prison. That was why he made such a stupid decision. Of course, there was also Xing Kai's instigation and encouragement. It turned out that Third Master's words were all right. Hiding was his way out. Thinking of this, Qingbin immediately retreated. Feng Shanshan was only pregnant, and she still had to give birth. Even if the child was safely born, it would take time to raise it into an adult. There were so many opportunities in the future. Why was he so obsessed? Of course, if he wanted to fight to the death, then killing Feng Shanshan alone would be enough to make Tang Yan wish he was dead. Therefore, he would always pay attention and monitor Feng Shanshan. Because of Mu Qiqi's protection, Feng Shanshan went through the prenatal checkup smoothly. When the doctor got the results, he said that there were some small problems, but he only asked her to have regular prenatal checkup. It would not have much of an impact. Mu Qiqi watched her finish the ultrasound and was relieved. I think Captain Tang should be back in the next 2 days. When that time comes, I'll remove your bodyguards. Did you see Qingbin today? Feng Shanshan asked her. Chapter 754. Qingbin returned empty-handed. After returning to his residence, he kept drinking. But as long as he closed his eyes, he could remember how he had suffered in prison all these years, and how his former brothers were sent to prison by Tang Yan. He would never forget it for a moment. At that moment, the television news was broadcasting the news of Xing Kai's inauguration as Changrong's chairman. Qingbin put down the bottle and went to Third Master Long's manor. Third Master, I'm sorry. Third Master Long knew that he wanted to rely on Xing Kai and did not force him. A good bird chooses a tree to nest in. I won't blame you. You can go. Why did Qingbin choose Xing Kai? It was because Xing Kai had a deep grudge against the Sheng family, which was why he was closer to his destination. Third Master Long only wanted to protect himself, so even if Xing Kai was an idiot, he was willing to follow him. In the afternoon, the news of Xing Kai's inauguration was still rolling. The secretary received Xing Zhao's order and entered the office to wait for instructions. Prepare a gift and send it to Changrong. Yes, President, the secretary said respectfully. Then do you have any requests for gifts? I don't have any requests. Just give it to me, Xing Zhao said without looking up. He was just being polite. Actually, today the people around Xing Kai kept congratulating him, but what really caught his attention was the gift from Zhongting. What was that supposed to mean? A reminder? Don't forget, the future is long. Gu Xiling was quite obedient today. No matter how unwilling she was, Xing Kai was the CEO of a company, and she was the CEO's wife. Changrong's reputation used to be very bad. Perhaps if the two of them worked hard, they could change the situation. However, she had no idea how naive she was, because she did not understand the meaning of Changrong's existence. In the evening, Qingbin appeared at Changrong's banquet. Xing Kai saw Qingbin appear at the door and asked someone to bring him into the VIP room. A moment later, he left the guest and entered the VIP room. Before Qingbin could speak, he said, "You failed, right? You know? With Mu Qiqi and Xing Xiao around, it'll be hard for you to succeed. If you really want revenge, the first thing you have to do is to get rid of these two people. I happen to lack a bodyguard. How about it? Are you interested?" "I can take up the position at any time," Qingbin replied. "Welcome to my team." Xing Kai laughed. "Of course I have to package you well. At the very least, I'm the CEO of Changrong. I can't bring a person with a criminal record with me. But you don't have to worry about that. Go home and wait for my call." Qingbin stood up from the sofa. Before he left, he asked Xing Kai hesitantly, "Will you really help me take revenge? I'm not like Third Master Long. My goal is very clear. I want to deal with the Sheng family. I've helped you clear away the Sheng family. Whether it's Feng Shanshan or Tang Yan, they've all lost their protection. Do you think it'll be easy for you to do it? Does this count as help?" Qingbin was silent. He turned around and left the hotel's VIP room. After Qingbin left, Xing Kai called Jin Bo, "Godfather, I found a fighter. Everything is ready. Kai, in order to celebrate you taking over Changrong, Godfather wants to give you a gift." Xing Kai did not know what gift Jin Bo was talking about. He only felt anticipation from the bottom of his heart. "Then I'll thank you in advance, Godfather. What else could it be that could make Xing Kai happy? It must be related to the Sheng family." Late at night, the cool breeze continued. Mu Qiqi personally delivered the other set of jewelry to Xing Bowen to express her sincerity. "There's a GPS device inside. It's also for third sister-in-law's safety." After all, Qingbin was watching Feng Shanshan and Xing Kai was watching the Xing family. None of them were easy to deal with. "I really didn't expect you to give me such a gift. It really surprised me." Xing Bowen put away the box in surprise. He was afraid that Mu Qiqi would take it back if he was a second late. "Things are secondary. The most important thing is that you take good care of her." Mu Qiqi rolled her eyes at Xing Bowen. "All right, I can't be out for too long. That person at home has a bad temper recently. I'm afraid of being taught a lesson. Go. It's time for me to go home and present the treasure." Xing Bowen hugged the box and was so happy that he couldn't control himself. Since it was made by Zhongting, it must be something good. In the middle of the night, Tang Yen returned home after completing his mission. However, because it was 3 o'clock in the morning, he did not make much noise. His phone was out of battery and he could not turn it on. When he entered the house, he realized a serious problem. Why was Feng Shanshan not at home again? The last time he left without saying goodbye, Feng Shanshan was angry and wanted to break up with him. But this time he had told Feng Shanshan in advance. Why was she still not at home? Didn't he tell her to stay at home obediently? After taking a shower, Tang Yin came out of the bathroom and found that the furniture in the house was covered in a layer of dust. It was obvious that she had been gone for more than a day or two. Then Tang Yin turned on his phone and found that Feng Shanshan would send him a text message on time every day. Are you home? When are you going home? Call me immediately when you're home. I'm staying at my uncle's house. Uncle? Tang Yin reacted for a moment. It should be his uncle without a doubt. Perhaps something had happened in the past few days when he was not around. That was why Feng Shanshan was staying at the professor's house. Since she was safe, there was no need for him to be in a hurry. So, he sat down on the sofa, took out the medicine box and applied medicine on himself. This time the injury was not too serious. It was just a gunshot in the lower abdomen. The bullet had been taken out and now it was time to change the medicine. Lying on the bed that still had Feng Shanshan's fragrance, Tang Yan's emotions suddenly calmed down. However, it seemed that every time he was loaned out, he would never return in one piece. He would always be injured. If Feng Shanshan found out, she would be worried again. The next morning, Feng Shanshan took the initiative to go home because she was used to calling once in the morning and once in the morning. This time the call went through. She knew that someone had returned. So, she asked Professor Tang to send her home in the morning. Because the professor was busy with work, he only said that he would teach someone a lesson at night and drove away. After entering the house, Feng Shanshan saw that the coffee table in the living room was covered in bloody bandages. Her heart sank. She knew that someone had returned with injuries again. Then, she quietly entered the bedroom and saw that someone was lying on the bed with his upper body naked. She did not disturb him and simply tidied up the house, waiting for him to wake up. Tang Yin woke up from his deep sleep when it was almost noon. When he pushed the door open and saw Feng Shanshan, he immediately hugged her. However, because he used too much force, Feng Shanshan pushed him away. Chapter 755. No. Feng Shanshan tried her best to keep herself calm and took out breakfast. I know you can't eat, but how much do you need to eat? You're so seriously injured. If you don't eat, how are you going to recover? Tang Yin was stunned for a moment. Then he stopped the busy Feng Shanshan and said, I've already communicated with the chief. In the future, I won't participate in such cases anymore. Sit down. Feng Shanshan was still very calm. Tang Yin felt a little uneasy. After all, it wasn't Feng Shanshan's personality to not have much emotional fluctuations. So he grabbed Feng Shanshan's hand. After this case, I can rest for a few more days. I'll stay at home with you. You want to accompany me? Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes. Sit down first. Tang Yin sat down. However, he sat down with his hand covering his wound. Feng Shanshan saw it and snorted coldly. I don't know if you're accompanying me or if I'm accompanying you. In order to punish this man, Feng Shanshan didn't plan to tell him about her pregnancy. However, because of the doctor's advice, she had to stay in bed as much as possible. So, she simply tidied up the house and went to bed again. There was still Tang Yan's body temperature under the blanket. Feng Shanshan finally felt at ease and fell asleep peacefully. Seeing that Feng Shanshan had fallen asleep, Tang Yan knew that she had been worried all day, so he ate a few mouthfuls of breakfast and returned to bed. He lay down beside Feng Shanshan and held her in his arms. In her sleep, Feng Shanshan was very uneasy. She kept kicking the blanket and sometimes she would even talk in her sleep. Tang Yan's heart ached. He had never felt so deeply that he wasn't a man. Then he hugged Feng Shanshan tightly and comforted her gently. I'm here. I'm back. Originally, Tang Yan wanted to hug Feng Shanshan and sleep for the whole day, but the police station still called. Captain Tang, there's another suicide at Changrong Electronics. This is the 4th case in the past 2 years. Also, there's something strange. The girl who committed suicide this time has a lot of similarities with the suicide case we determined previously. It was a call from old Cheng. He had only been back for one night, and these people already knew his whereabouts? Initially, Tang Yin didn't want to bother with it, but he knew that Xing Kai had taken over Changrong Electronics. So, after making lunch for Feng Shanshan, he went out with his injuries. After arriving at the branch office, old Cheng quickly came up to him. However, when he saw that Tang Yin didn't look well, he felt a little guilty. Captain Tang, are you injured? It's a small injury, Tang Yin answered. I don't want to disturb you, but this matter is a little. I'll go to the autopsy room first, Tang Yin said firmly again. Then he turned the corner and went to the autopsy room. Professor Tang looked up and saw him. He stopped his work and glared at him. Why are you here? Coming back to work right after coming back? You to work right. She's resting at home. I'm just here to report to the director, Tang Yin explained. He did not understand why the professor was so agitated. It. She to say T to she. To T, it to Shan. T to the T to T to phone, T. I'll go back after I finish my report, Tang Yin promised. Get lost. I'll deal with the director. Professor Tang instructed. You're already going to be a father, yet you don't care about your family at all. If I were Shan, I would leave you immediately. What a bastard. Tang Yin listened for a while and caught the main point of the professor's words. What do you mean by becoming a father? Shan didn't tell you? Say what? She's pregnant. Professor Tang glared at Tang Yin with a disappointed look. Hearing these words, Tang Yin was stunned and his body stiffened. A moment later he turned around and left, completely ignoring old Cheng's shouts behind him. No wonder she wanted to move to his uncle's house. No wonder she wanted to rest in bed in broad daylight. No wonder, when she saw him, her tone was so calm. No wonder. Tang Yin drove straight home. When he entered the house, Feng Shanshan was still unconscious. Tang Yan's gaze then fell on her smooth lower abdomen. It was in this place that a child belonging to him and Feng Shanshan was born. He didn't want Feng Shanshan to suffer so early, but when he heard the news, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up. His mind was filled with the image of Feng Shanshan with the child. That was his flesh and blood. Tang Yin felt like he was going crazy. Feng Shanshan slept until the afternoon. It was Mu Qiqi's call that woke her up. Feng Shanshan reached out to pick up the call. It was Mu Qiqi who asked twice a day, Captain Tang isn't back yet? Oh, he's back, Feng Shanshan sat up and answered. What was his expression when he found out you were pregnant? I haven't told him yet. Feng Shanshan rubbed her hair. I felt sleepy when I got home and slept until now. All right, then you rest. Mu Qiqi hung up and Feng Shanshan also put down her phone. Then she saw Tang Yin appear at the bedroom door. Did you sleep enough? Feng Shanshan nodded and touched her stomach. I'm a little hungry. Get up and I'll take you to eat. Then we'll go to the hospital for a checkup. I want to see it with my own eyes. Tang Yin helped her up. Feng Shanshan was stunned for a moment and looked at Tang Yin. Weren't you afraid of dragging me down in the past? Now that I'm pregnant, isn't it even more dangerous? We're getting married right away. I don't want you and the child to get criticized by others. Whether it's dangerous or not, we'll talk about it later. I'll take care of it. Are you willing to marry me because of the child? Feng Shanshan frowned and sat by the bed, unwilling to get up. No, I never planned to let go. It's just that the child appeared earlier, Tang Yin explained. These were his heartfelt words. Ever since we got together, I've treated you as my only partner in this life. It's never changed. You didn't tell me. In the past, you always thought that you didn't want to have any emotional involvement with me. Even if I told you, you wouldn't care. That was true. Feng Shanshan was finally satisfied. She grabbed Tang Yan's hand and got up. Actually, if you want to go on a business trip and investigate a case, it's still the same. I only hope that you can do what you promised me. When we give birth, you must be by my side. Even if it's investigating a case or carrying out a mission, I only want to be by your side. Tang Yin said what he really thought because this was what he was thinking about when he was carrying out a mission. I don't want to get hurt again in the future. Chapter 756. After nightfall, Tang Yin brought Feng Shanshan to the banyan courtyard. This was the first time the two of them had officially entered Mu Qiqi and Xing Zhao's love nest. Of course, Mama Xing and Papa Xing had left in the evening for a vacation in France. Now only the couple and fifth aunt were left at home. It's only a few minutes away and we're all in the same area. Why is the difference so big? Feng Shanshan couldn't help but sigh after visiting the banyan courtyard. My family works so hard to earn money. If the house he buys is only as big as the poor people like you, that would be crazy. Mu Qiqi snorted lightly, but she gestured for the two of them to sit in the living room and asked fifth aunt to make tea. What? Is Thanksgiving here? Xiao Qi, it's been hard on you these few days, Tang Yin said to Mu Qiqi without waiting for Feng Shanshan's reminder. Sigh, I don't know what to say. Your identity means that you can't live a peaceful life with her, but I can't leave her alone, so I can only worry about her. Mu Qiqi shrugged. In a while, I'll give you the GPS system so that you can monitor this pregnant woman at any time. She's younger than you. Feng Shanshan patted her belly unhappily. While the two of them were bickering, Xing Xiao walked out of the study on the second floor and looked at Tang Yen. Is it convenient for us to talk? The two women looked at each other. When did the two of them become so familiar with each other? However, before the two of them could react, Tang Yen had already stood up and followed them to the second floor. Mu Qiqi looked at Feng Shanshan suspiciously and then understood. It's probably because of Changrong and Sheng Kai. Qingbin followed Sheng Kai. The first thing Xing Xiao said after closing the door was to tell Tang Yen this news. Sheng Kai isn't as difficult to deal with as Third Master Long, but he's definitely more disgusting than Third Master Long. Third Master Long knows how to weigh the pros and cons. Benefits come first, but Sheng Kai is only doing it for revenge. Sheng Kai needs a fighter who won't break his arm, and Qingbin needs a chance to get close to you. That's why the two of them joined forces so quickly. Therefore their target is no longer just you or me but all of us. After Tang Yen heard Xing Zhao's words, he nodded lightly. I will thoroughly investigate the matter regarding Changrong. The mad dog is so eager to bite me, so I can't sit still and wait for death. A few years ago I could send Qingbin to prison. Today I can also make Sheng Kai stay in prison. Let me know if you need any help, Xing Xiao said to Tang Yen. I don't need any help except protect Feng Shanshan. Xing Xiao knew that it was Tang Yan's ribs. Just like Mu Qiqi to him, no one could touch it. The two men exchanged a few words and returned to their respective women. Downstairs, Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan were almost done. Captain Tang has just returned. You must have a lot to say. Don't waste your time here. Go back. Mu Qiqi began to chase the guests away. It was rare that her parents were not at home, and she had something she wanted to do with Xiao Xiao. I don't plan to stay long. Feng Shanshan snorted and stood up with Tang Yan's help. By the way, I know a little about Changrong Electronics. It seems that the Major Crimes Division is in charge of this case. Xiaoqi, are you going to participate too? You're a pregnant woman. Why are you worrying so much? Mu Qiqi glared at her. Go back and rest. Of course, Mu Qiqi wanted to participate. Not only because she wanted to see Sheng Kai play tricks, but she also wanted to know what kind of secrets were hidden behind so many suicides. Of course, she did not know that this case was related to the previous one. However, since it concerned Sheng Kai, Xiao Xiao might not agree to her participating in the case. Tang Yen did not say anything. The two of them came over to thank her and turned to leave. Mu Qiqi looked at their backs and quickly asked Fifth Aunt to go home. Then she locked the door and sneakily went to the study. Xing Xiao crossed his arms and looked at her. What are you playing at? Mom and Dad aren't home and Fifth Aunt left. Mu Qiqi climbed onto Xing Xiao's legs and said. So? Xing Xiao asked her with a faint smile. He knew what she wanted, but he deliberately teased her and made her say it herself. I want to go to the living room. Mu Qiqi drew a circle on Xing Xiao's chest. Why do you want to go to the living room? Xing Xiao planned to play dumb until the end. What do you think? Mu Qiqi snorted. Let's sleep in the living room tonight. It was impossible for him not to understand such an obvious hint, right? Sure enough, Xing Xiao carried Mu Qiqi horizontally and walked straight to the living room downstairs. Little one, I'll be tortured to death by you sooner or later. Mu Qiqi was young and was at the age when all aspects of her qualities were strong. As a man in his 30s, he naturally had to be satisfied every day. No matter what, he couldn't let his woman suffer, right? Tang Yen brought Feng Shanshan home and personally wiped her face and feet. Feng Shanshan felt that this was not something a man should do, but Tang Yen held her hand. This is all I can do for you. If you don't let me, I'll feel very guilty. Feng Shanshan saw that he did not change his clothes and knew that he was actually waiting to report to the branch office at night. Are you still going out? I have to accept the matter of Changrong Electronics as soon as possible and thoroughly investigate Sheng Kai. What? Qingbin followed Sheng Kai, Tang Yen answered calmly. Feng Shanshan immediately understood when she heard that. This was also the reason why Xing Xiao had asked her to go to the study to discuss. Feng Shanshan did not stop him. She held Tang Yan's handsome face and kissed it gently. Be careful. I'll change your dressing later before you leave. Don't force yourself. Let senior brother Long and the others do the physical work. Tang Yen took the opportunity to hold Feng Shanshan's hand and said in a rather emotional tone, when I'm free tomorrow or the day after, I'll make a report and then register with you. Tomorrow afternoon I'll accompany you for a prenatal checkup. Feng Shanshan nodded. Actually, she was already very satisfied that Tang Yen could do this. I'm not that weak. I just want to know that you're safe. No matter what you're doing, I'll be at ease. Tang Yin rubbed Feng Shanshan's head and continued to massage the soles of her feet. After you're pregnant, you've become more sensible. Feng Shanshan did not say anything. Under Tang Yan's care, she lay on the bed. Perhaps it was because she was pregnant, but she was very sleepy. After lying in Tang Yan's arms for 10 minutes, she fell asleep. Looking at Feng Shanshan like this, Tang Yan's heart ached. For him, this woman had given up her studies and career. Now, she was even pregnant before marriage. He really owed her too much. Chapter 757. Of course, Sheng Kai had not expected Chang Rong to have another suicide incident. However, as soon as he took over the position of CEO, such a scandal broke out that night, making it very difficult for him to do public relations. For this reason, he could not understand why Jinbo wanted him to invest in Chang Rong. There were so many scandals, and even the criminal police had come to his door. Did his godfather want him to make money? For this reason, Sheng Kai called Jinbo Godfather. You already know about another employee committing suicide, right? If an employee wants to commit suicide, can't you just relax the benefits and shorten the working hours? They must be under too much pressure at work. That's why they did this. Jinbo maintained his usual amiable tone and lectured Sheng Kai diligently. Godfather, I still don't quite understand why you asked me to take over Chang Rong. You just have to do it honestly and deal with the police well. Anyway, this is a suicide and it has nothing to do with you. You just have to do public relations well. When this matter is over, the gift I gave you will almost arrive. Just wait. If there's nothing else, I'm still busy, so I'll hang up. After Jinbo finished speaking, he hung up on Sheng Kai. Sheng Kai put away his phone. He really did not understand, but he could only do as Jinbo said. There were some paths that once you moved forward, you could not turn back. At 10 o'clock in the evening, Tang Yin went out to the field with old Cheng and senior brother Long. For this reason, old Cheng and senior brother Long yawned and asked Tang Yin, Captain Tang, why are you going so late? If it weren't for the fact that your field work isn't good enough, we could be having a comfortable meeting in the branch office right now. We wouldn't need to go to the crime scene. Tang Yin looked at the photos they had taken and said, Since you've discovered the similarities with the previous case, why are you still so careless? Old Cheng and senior brother Long looked at each other and did not say anything. If they were as careful as Tang Yin, they would not have been a criminal police officer after working for so many years. Are they really not as good as Muchichi? The two of them coughed lightly. They were familiar with Changrong's access control. Because it was already after work, there was no one else in Changrong Electronics other than the guard. Officer, didn't you come here during the day? We don't care about time when investigating cases. In order to find the real culprit as soon as possible, please cooperate. Where's the person in charge of Changrong? After Tang Yin finished speaking to the guard, he turned to ask old Cheng. He was referring to Sheng Kai. Wait in the office, old Cheng replied. Let's go to the scene first and then meet him, Tang Yin ordered. Aren't we going to see him first? They're still waiting. Old Cheng thought to himself that Captain Tang really didn't take the other party seriously. Let him wait, Tang Yin answered as he took out his gloves and put them on. Lead the way. The two of them had no objections to their boss's order. They quickly walked in front and went to the crime scene first, which was the staff's dormitory. It was still the same. He took the medicine, died in the bathtub, and left a suicide note. Tell me, is there anything similar to the previous case? Tang Yin asked old Cheng as he reviewed the scene. In the previous case, Chi-Chi and the professor found out that before the victim committed suicide, she went to get her nails done. She even searched for a guide to travel abroad on the computer. Most importantly, the victim's home, which was the first crime scene, was too clean. It was so clean that even the victim's fingerprints were gone. What about this time? Of course Tang Yin knew. He picked up the case and found a business card under the victim's bed. It's the same for this girl. The day before, she had an appointment with her friends to go to the movies and booked a haircut on the weekend. Although she didn't have any plans to travel abroad, she bought a train ticket home. I heard that her mother was sick. In addition, the room was also abnormally clean. After Tang Yin heard this, he took out a business card from his pocket and handed it to the two of them. Old Cheng, look for it carefully. See if there's any information related to this card in this room. Xiaolong and I will go meet Sheng Kai. Old Cheng took the business card and nodded. Don't worry, Captain Tang. When Tang Yin turned around, he covered his wound, which attracted Xiaolong's attention. Captain Tang, you're seriously injured, aren't you? Xiaolong scratched Tang Yan's clothes and found that there was a bandage wrapped around his left abdomen. There were still traces of blood. Is that a gunshot wound or a stab wound? It has nothing to do with you. Don't tell anyone else, Tang Yin said lightly. It's never a good thing when the relevant departments lend you out. Xiao Long rolled his eyes. This person was injured when he went out, so it must be a big case. Soon the two of them arrived at Sheng Kai's office. At this moment, Qingbin was waiting in the office with Sheng Kai. Then Tang Yin knocked on the door. CEO Sheng, is it convenient for us to talk? When Qingbin heard this voice, he became extremely nervous, but Sheng Kai reminded him to calm down. Qingbin nodded, got up, opened the door and led Tang Yin into the office. I didn't expect you to be CEO Sheng's assistant. Tang Yin looked at Qingbin and said with a hidden meaning. What are you talking about? It's just to support my family. Qingbin still maintained his aloof appearance. Captain Tang, please have a seat. I'm not sitting. I just have a few words to say to CEO Sheng. Tang Yin held the documents and looked at Sheng Kai. Although I don't know why CEO Sheng wants to take this position, it's probably because it's easier to earn money from Changrong. I'm here for nothing else but to inform CEO Sheng that since the Major Crimes Division has taken over this case, you should know what it means, right? For the first 3 suicide cases, CEO Sheng, please get the relevant personnel to sort them out and hand them over to the police as soon as possible. After Sheng Kai heard Tang Yan's words, he put down the teacup in his hand and smiled. I heard from the guard downstairs that Captain Tang arrived a long time ago, but you deliberately made me wait for so long. I wonder how I offended you. CEO Sheng, you might not know this, but I just came back and haven't had the time to investigate the scene yet. My subordinates didn't do a good job, so I have to personally investigate the scene to be at ease. So, it's my fault for making CEO Sheng wait, Tang Yin said as he looked at Sheng Kai. You're just the captain of a criminal police team. Aren't you a little arrogant? This is just a simple suicide case. Is the police so lacking in performance? Maintaining law and order is our duty, Tang Yin replied firmly. Previously, when Zhongting had an accident, we could still cooperate according to the law, but not when it came to Changrong. Sheng Kai was choked by Tang Yin. Chapter 758. Captain Tang, you're really eloquent. Ordinary people like us can't resist you at all, Sheng Kai mocked. It's my duty. Sorry for offending you. From the beginning to the end, Tang Yin was cold and indifferent. He treated everyone according to the rules and did not show any warmth at all. To him, this was a human life. Obviously, Sheng Kai did not think so in his heart. This was the most obvious difference between Sheng Kai and Xing Xiao. That's all for today. Thank you for your cooperation, CEO Sheng. You can go home and rest. After saying that, Tang Yin reminded old Cheng and Officer Long to leave. Wait, I heard Captain Tang mention Zhongting just now. I wonder if Captain Tang has a personal relationship with the other CEO Sheng of Zhongting? Sheng Kai suddenly asked. We don't have much of a personal relationship, Tang Yin answered straightforwardly. Captain Tang, don't mind me. I just don't want any personal grudges to be mixed in the case. Of course, I also hope that the police can close the case as soon as possible. After all, I still have to make money. This is a human life. Of course, the police will do our best to solve the case as soon as possible. However, CEO Sheng, you have to understand that the person died in Changrong. You also have the responsibility of failing to supervise him. Don't think that this matter is unrelated to you. Goodbye. After saying that, Tang Yin turned around and left. This made Sheng Kai very unhappy. A mere criminal police officer actually had such an arrogant attitude. It really made it difficult for him to calm down. Now I can finally understand why you're so ruthless to this police officer. After Tang Yin left, Sheng Kai said this to Qingbin. Of course, old Cheng and the others who had already left Changrong could not help but be puzzled. Although Captain Tang had always been like this and did things according to the rules, he had never been so cold to anyone. Does Captain Tang have a personal grudge with CEO Sheng? Old Cheng asked. However, he was interrupted by senior brother Long. What personal grudge? Don't you see that CEO Sheng doesn't care about the life and death of his employees at all? Think about what Zhongting did before. Although it's rumored that Zhongting CEO Xing Xiao is a good and evil person, what's the truth? He's a magnanimous gentleman. At first glance, you can tell that he's full of righteousness. Unlike this person, if he were in a fantasy world, he would be a crooked devil. It would be strange if Captain Tang likes him. Old Cheng chuckled and nodded. That's right. The two brothers are as different as clouds and mud. This is also why Zhongting can develop and grow so quickly. It's inseparable from the leader's character. Of course. This was also the reason why Tang Yen was willing to have a close relationship with Xing Xiao. As a human being, especially a man, although he could not say that he would always make the right choice, there were still some things that he could not do. Alright, I'll drive home. You two go back to the station by yourselves. Tang Yen interrupted them. Captain Tang, this is not your style. Aren't you going back to the station? I want to rest. When they heard Tang Yen say that he wanted to rest, Old Cheng and Old Cheng were so surprised that their jaws almost dropped. Was this still the impartial Captain Tang they knew? However, Senior Brother Long could understand. Captain Tang is injured. He should rest. By the way, Captain Tang, this is for you. Old Cheng took out a card and handed it to Tang Yen. I didn't find any effective information in the deceased's room. Come to the meeting tomorrow. Tang Yen took it back, opened the car door and got into the car. When there was no security system at home, he would definitely stay by Feng Shanshan and the child's side. After Shen Kai returned home, he was questioned by Gu Xiling. So late. Why did you come back so late? Do you think it's that easy to deal with the police? Shen Kai told Gu Xiling about Tang Yen humiliating him at Changrong today. He said that he doesn't have a personal relationship with Xing Xiao. I don't believe him at all. What can I do? Xing Xiao is naturally better at winning people over than you in this regard. Gu Xiling snorted. You'd better find your own reasons. Also, Shen Kai, I still feel that there's something wrong with this matter. Why did Godfather let you take over a company that always has problems? Aren't you curious? It has nothing to do with you. Just be the wife of the CEO, Shen Kai said as he took off his coat. I don't want to care about you either, but I want to make sure that I won't be dragged down by you. After saying this, Gu Xiling entered the bedroom and closed the door. These two people had successfully acted out what it meant by husband and wife being birds in the same forest. When disaster struck, they would fly separately. Of course, Shen Kai had thousands of doubts in his heart, but now that his godfather was unwilling to tell him anything, what could he do? The next day, Mu Qiqi woke up early and obediently went to the kitchen to make breakfast. It was obvious that she had a guilty conscience and wanted to do something to Xing Xiao. After Xing Xiao went downstairs, he sat at the dining table and drank his coffee. When he saw Mu Qiqi's little head, he asked without raising his head, "What do you want now? Can you let me participate in the case?" Mu Qiqi sincerely lay on Xing Xiao's body and acted coquettishly. Shen Kai suddenly took over Changrong in a mysterious manner. There must be a secret behind it. Other than the old man, the other person he hates the most is you. I think if I participate, I can take precautions. No. Xing Xiao directly refuted her with 2 words. Moreover, if there's any news, Su Che will know to update it. There's no need for you to specially inquire about it. Mu Qiqi had no choice but to roll on Xing Xiao's body. When Captain Tang wasn't around, I knew you would be worried, so I definitely wouldn't say anything about going to the forensics laboratory to help. But now that Captain Tang is back, he can guarantee my safety. How can you guarantee me something that even he can't guarantee? Xing Xiao looked at Mu Qiqi mockingly. Don't get any ideas. In the future, I'll encounter more dangerous cases. I might even be threatened like Captain Tang. What will you do then? Then we'll talk about it in 2 years. Xing Xiao stared at Mu Qiqi and said coldly. Mu Qiqi was discouraged, but she couldn't be angry because this man was very good at assessing danger. Since he didn't want her to participate, she should just listen to him, Mu Qiqi thought. I promise you that I won't take the initiative to participate, but if the professor still needs me, I'll go over, okay? Are you sure you don't want to beg Tang Yen? Xing Xiao glanced at her and asked. I won't. Mu Qiqi raised her hand and swore. She muttered, this Shen Kai is getting more and more out of line. I'm also a member of the Sheng family, and I also want to participate. I can't always let you and third brother carry the burden. The most important thing is you. Xing Xiao didn't say anything. He just stroked her hair. It was very comfortable. Chapter 759. Then, can you promise that you'll tell me when you find out what's wrong? Mu Qiqi lay on Xing Xiao's lap again and said, in the past few years I've always believed in you, respected you, relied on you, and accepted your careful care. However, sometimes, I also want you to treat me equally and not always treat me like a child. Xing Xiao lowered his head and looked at Mu Qiqi. He realized that he had been thinking more and more about this recently, but it was still developing in a good direction. So he nodded. Forget it. If you don't make me worry anymore, I'll definitely not be used to it. As long as the professor really needs you, I won't stop him. You promised me. You can't go back on your word. Xing Xiao held Mu Qiqi's hand and couldn't help but roll his eyes at her. When have I ever gone back on my word? That was true. Mu Qiqi was relieved. She returned to the dining table and ate her breakfast seriously. However, throughout breakfast Mu Qiqi kept peeking at Xing Xiao. She didn't know why this man was so good-looking. No matter how she looked at him, she didn't get tired of him. Xing Xiao knew that burning gaze, but he didn't interfere. It was fine if it was his, but if it was someone else, who would have the guts to do so? After breakfast, Tang Yen entered the branch office for a meeting. However, before he entered the office, old Qing came up to him with a frown. Captain Tang, the chief wants you to go to his office. Tang Yen nodded. He had guessed it because of the business card he had picked up earlier. Tang Yen, hurry up and close the suicide case of Changrong's employee. I have a new case here that I need you to handle immediately. Tang Yen sneered faintly, but he took out the card and placed it on the chief's desk. Although I don't know if the previous 3 suicides of Changrong were because of this, I'm sure that the 5 suicides are inextricably linked. Moreover, there will be more murders soon. When the chief saw the business card, he was stunned. If the chief wants to be a confused person, I can only follow suit. It's just that I'm starting to wonder why I'm wearing this police uniform. Many years ago, the prisoners I sent to prison are now eyeing my family and even my lover covetously. But I've never regretted it because I know that I've done the right thing. But now I've seen through too much. I know that the real culprit is free and I know that the deceased is wronged, but what can I do as a criminal police officer? If the director wants to close the case with suicide, then I won't want to wear this uniform anymore. After that, Tang Yen turned around and wanted to leave the chief's office, but he was called back by the chief. Stop right there. Are you even human? The chief was also angry. Do you think that you're the only one who's upset? I've been a police officer for more than 30 years and I've caught countless criminals. I also want to catch all the criminals in this world in one fell swoop, but there are times when I have the will but not the strength. Then there's nothing more to say. Wait. The director stood up and blocked Tang Yan's way. If I allow you to investigate this case, how long will it take for you to give me a satisfactory answer? Tang Yan shook his head. Director, I can't give you any guarantee. The director took a deep breath and finally slapped the table fiercely. I'll give you a week because I can only withstand the pressure for a week. Let's see how far you can go first. Thank you, director. Take it back, you bastard. The director gritted his teeth because he knew what it meant to allow Tang Yen to investigate this case. Tang Yen took back the business card and returned to the conference room. He immediately called for a meeting. Tang Yen planned to find some connections between the suicide of the young girl and the physical evidence of Xing Kai framing Huang Yao. He had a feeling that the people who were stirring up trouble behind the scenes in Jianchuan were the same group. Of course, before the meeting, Tang Yen called Xing Xiao in advance. What's the matter? I feel that investigating Changrong Electronics case is like shaking a volcano. It's very dangerous. Can I borrow CEO Sheng's financial resources to set up a security system? There are some things that the police can do, but there are also some things that the police can't do. Tang Yen said it so directly. Of course, Xing Xiao understood. That idiot Xing Kai probably didn't know what kind of quagmire he had fallen into. Not only did he become someone else's pawn, but he also wanted to drag the Xing family and Zhongting down with him. Moreover, Zhongting's current strength was inextricably linked to the Xin family. It had already been feared by many people. Even without Xing Kai being the executioner in the middle, there would probably be people looking for trouble with him soon. I've said it before. I'll increase my investment in this area. If you need manpower or financial resources, just tell me. I've already prepared this fund. Is 1 billion enough? Thank you for your generosity, CEO Sheng, but I need people like Su Che. With money, are you afraid that you won't be able to hire people? Xing Xiao chuckled. Originally, he only wanted to be a pure businessman. However, after interacting with Secretary He for a long time, he also understood a principle. He was in the military industry. Now that the Xin family was in charge of Jianchuan, he could have a smooth journey. However, in a few years, when the time came, the number of people he blocked would be the number of people who would come to settle the score with him. There's one more thing. I want to borrow Qiqi. Hearing Tang Yan's request, Xing Xiao smiled. What? At most, he thought that the professor would need Qi. He did not expect Tang Yan to ask for her personally. Xiao Qi's observation is different from ordinary people. It's a pity that she's only a forensic doctor. She can be a criminal police officer. Although you're her guardian angel, you can't deny that she has the ability. Tang Yan's words were much more convincing than the little one's own words. Of course, Sheng Xiao would naturally agree to it when he heard it. I don't have any other request. You must ensure her safety. After the conversation, they hung up in a hurry. Then Tang Yan returned to the office and sorted out the case with everyone. At noon, Mu Qiqi received a call from the professor. She was so happy that she almost flew into the air. Even so, Mu Qiqi still called Xing Xiao to ask for his opinion. Go ahead. Xing Xiao kept his word. After that, Mu Qiqi was borrowed again. The students from the forensic science faculty were quite dissatisfied. But who asked her to be the top student even if she didn't go to class? Don't be jealous. Mu Qiqi became a forensic assistant and handled so many dead bodies. She has accumulated so much experience, but you can't even beg for it. Are you all still hoping that she will fail? She has actual combat experience. How can she fail? However, the students' discussion was behind the scenes. Mu Qiqi did not know about it. Chapter 760. After Mu Qiqi arrived at the branch office, Tang Yin prepared a new work ID for her. Go to the autopsy room to look at the body first. Then I'll wait for you to go to the crime scene, Tang Yin said to Mu Qiqi. Is Shanshan all right? Mu Qiqi asked as she hung up her work ID. We'll talk about private matters later. Go to work first, Tang Yin urged. Mu Qiqi nodded and quickened her pace to the autopsy room. When the professor saw her appear, he quickly showed her the autopsy results. This is the poison test report. Arsenic trioxide? Mu Qiqi's expression was rather complicated. Logically speaking, this thing is often used in the paint industry and glass factories. Can electronics factories get it easily? This girl is really ruthless to herself. Under normal circumstances, it's enough to kill her. Whether it's suicide or homicide, of course the more the better. The professor pulled the body out for Mu Qiqi and prepared gloves for her. What was arsenic trioxide? In layman's terms, it was arsenic. It was extremely poisonous. We have to find out why she committed suicide and how this thing got into her hands, the professor instructed Mu Qiqi. When you go to the scene later, you have to observe carefully. I understand. Even though the cause of death was clear, Mu Qiqi still had to examine the body again. Of course, just like the young girl from before, there were no suspicious traces on the body, nor were there any injuries. There were no biological fibers or fingerprints of other people. It's about time. Captain Tang is still waiting for me. I'll be leaving first, Mu Qiqi said to the professor after looking at the body. Go ahead. The professor waved at her. Mu Qiqi returned to the police car, but as soon as she got in, old Cheng and the others despised her. Qiqi, the smell on your body is back again. I want to smell good too, but I have no choice. I'm a forensic doctor. Why don't you do the autopsy? Mu Qiqi rolled her eyes. Forget it. I'd rather sell ham and do field work than deal with those bloody things. Mu Qiqi snorted softly and looked at Tang Yin. Have you found the source of the arsenic? Yes, I just got the news. It was indeed bought by the deceased with money, Tang Yin replied. The seller didn't know the purpose of the deceased, but he was greedy for money, so he sold it. At this point, everyone would think that the deceased was courting death. Why does Captain Tang still insist that there's a problem with the case? Because of this. Tang Yin handed the name card to Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi took it and looked at it. She was stunned and frowned. Do you remember the last case where the girl already had a boyfriend? I found this under the girl's bed. I asked old Cheng to secretly check the number on the business card. He kept talking to the deceased 3 times a week. Later, the phone was cancelled and I couldn't find any information about the person on the business card. No wonder. Mu Qiqi understood. But the strangest thing is that old Cheng is sure that this person really existed before. When Mu Qiqi heard that, she suddenly looked up. You mean someone destroyed the files for him? It's precisely because we don't know that we have to investigate. Tang Yin didn't reveal anything else. When we arrive at the crime scene later, pay close attention to the information related to this business card. Although old Cheng did this, I still feel that you need to see it. Old Cheng pursed his lips. He was unhappy, but he had to admit that Xiao Qi was 100 times more careful. I got it. Mu Qiqi still had doubts in her heart, but she didn't ask in front of old Cheng and the others. After they got out of the car, Mu Qiqi said, Captain Tang, you didn't finish what you were saying just now, did you? Tang Yin chuckled and nodded. If old Cheng and the others had half of your observation skills, I wouldn't have had to catch you when you went to school. I know a person whose former name is on the business card. Are you saying that this person used his defunct name to commit murder? I hope not. Mu Qiqi didn't ask further because of Tang Yan's identity. He was a criminal police officer, and the people around him naturally had something to do with the police industry. This was also the reason why Tang Yan was cautious. The two of them entered Changrong's main gate at the same time. At this time, Shen Kai was bringing Gu Xiling around the park. When enemies met, their eyes turned red. Gu Xiling walked over and said to Mu Qiqi, "You're really haunting me. You're everywhere. If there wasn't a murder case at Changrong Electronics, you wouldn't be able to see me even if you wanted to." Mu Qiqi snorted. There was a hint of arrogance in her tone. However, this made Old Cheng and the others happy. They were all young ladies from rich families, but the difference was huge. You're just a forensic doctor. What's there to be proud of? Besides, you have a personal grudge against us. Who knows if you'll take this opportunity to avenge your personal grudges? Gu Xiling grabbed Mu Qiqi and prevented her from entering Changrong's staff dormitory. After hearing Gu Xiling's words, Old Cheng was angry. He opened his mouth to retort, but was stopped by Mu Qiqi. I'm not as free as you. Speaking of which, I still have a private score to settle with you, but not now. Mrs. Sheng, ever since I met you, you've always been in a state of ignorance. There's a murder case at Changrong today, but you're still acting recklessly. You're wasting time by stopping me. It won't do Changrong any good. Mu Qiqi's tone began to turn cold. Tang Yan also said directly, Mrs. Sheng, please don't interfere with official business. After saying that, he brought Mu Qiqi to the first scene of the murder case. Gu Xiling wanted to chase after her, but she was stopped by Shen Kai. She has a public position now. Don't pester her endlessly. What can she do to investigate the case? She just wants to cause trouble for Changrong. If you want to stop her, then come up with a way. Yelling here will only embarrass you, Shen Kai said sternly. Isn't our current situation difficult enough? You still have to make things difficult for me here. Gu Xiling found it hard to calm down, but she was helpless. Could Mu Qiqi solve the case alone? She suspected that this case could not be closed as a suicide. It was Mu Qiqi's doing. She was extremely despicable. Mu Qiqi carefully observed every part of the crime scene. It was such a clean space. The murderer had even cleaned up the traces of the deceased. How could she find new clues? Mu Qiqi took out the business card and thought about it carefully. The last woman had a boyfriend, but this time this woman did not. She was single. She could make the deceased willingly buy arsenic. There must be a connection between the deceased and the murderer. It was just that they had not discovered it. Chapter 761. Mu Qiqi carefully searched and observed the deceased's room. Old Cheng and the others asked the deceased's friends and colleagues. The unanimous conclusion was that Bai Sini was a cheerful girl and had a reasonable plan for her life. Everyone was surprised that she committed suicide this time. Old Cheng really couldn't get anything out of her, so he could only return to the crime scene. Qiqi, did you find anything? I didn't find any information related to the man on the business card. Mu Qiqi stood up and said, I wanted to ask senior brother Cheng, what was the relationship between the deceased and her mother? According to her friend's description, the deceased's parents divorced in the early years. After that, the deceased lived with her mother. After graduating from university, she went to work at Changrong Electronics. It's been almost 3 years. Isn't her mother sick? She also bought a return ticket, and according to the call records, she and her mother have been in contact frequently recently. Mu Qiqi nodded. I just think that her relationship with her mother isn't very good. Why do you think so? Haven't you noticed since you came in? The room is filled with photos of her and her father, but there's not a single photo of her and her mother, Mu Qiqi explained. Do you think that's normal? Old Cheng observed carefully, and it was indeed the case. I think we can focus on investigating the deceased's mother. The murderer might also be using her mother to release a signal to the deceased. Where's Captain Tang? Something happened. He went home, Old Cheng answered. The people at the branch office didn't know that Feng Shanshan was pregnant, so they didn't know that Tang Yen had gone back to accompany her for a prenatal checkup. Alright, that's all for today. You guys immediately get news about her parents and wait for Captain Tang to decide whether to investigate her parents. Old Cheng nodded and sighed. It's a pity that such a young and beautiful girl has passed away. Xiaolong and I will go back to the branch office. What about you? You don't have to worry about me. I've already informed the family, Mu Qiqi replied. Then we won't bother about you. After the investigation, the group left Changrong Electronics. However, because Xing Xiao was still on the way, Mu Qiqi stood at the entrance of Changrong and waited. Not long after, Gu Ziling's car drove out of Changrong. When she saw Mu Qiqi, she rolled down the window and asked, "Forensic Dr. Mu, did you find anything?" Mu Qiqi pretended not to hear anything. She did not want to talk to Gu Ziling. Gu Ziling was provoked. She opened the door and got out of the car. She walked up to Mu Qiqi. "Why do you always show your arrogant side in front of me? What's so great about you? Gu Ziling, you'll never understand how precious a human life is. That's why I feel that we don't get along. I know what you're thinking, but please put away your desire to win. I don't have time to waste on you. I can't reveal the case to you. I'm working as a forensic doctor today, so I don't want to trouble you. But there's one thing I have to advise you. It's better not to step into some quagmires. What you've done in the past was just a clown's trick, but now it involves human lives. Today someone else died, but tomorrow it might be you. I'm not interested in knowing why Xing Kai took over Changrong, but I can tell you for sure that the person behind Xing Kai might not have anything to do with these murders. When the time comes, if something happens to the other party, the first one to suffer will be a pawn." After Mu Qiqi finished speaking, Xing Zhao's car stopped across the road. Mu Qiqi glanced at Feng Shanshan and brushed past her. She got into her family's car and the two of them sped away. Gu Ziling was still stunned because she had to admit that what Mu Qiqi said was what she was worried about. The godfather behind Xing Kai said that he wanted to support his godson. She thought that he was going to give him a good job, but what happened in the end? Take over Changrong. Murder cases came one after another. She even had a feeling that Xing Kai, that idiot, was a scapegoat being raised by someone. After getting into the car, Mu Qiqi took off her work pass and threw it aside. Xing Xiao saw it and asked her, "What did you say to Gu Ziling just now? I'm really annoyed to see this woman now. There's a high chance that she'll come looking for trouble. She used to be quite smart, but now it seems like her brain is mostly tofu dregs. She's looking for trouble with you?" Mu Qiqi snorted and pointed at her nose. "Master Xiao, are you kidding me? Is your wife the type to be bullied so easily?" However, I still kindly reminded her that Xing Kai might have fallen into a thief's lair. Ha! Xing Xiao did not understand what she was doing. Mu Qiqi sighed and explained helplessly, "This couple is far from being as loving as they seem on the surface. When they get back, they'll definitely fight." Xing Xiao pinched Mu Qiqi's ear and shook it left and right. "Do you really think you're a matchmaker? You can even tell if someone else's relationship is good or not. It's a feeling. You men won't understand. Besides, that couple is so selfish. It would be strange if they could have a good relationship." Mu Qiqi rolled her eyes in disdain. "In that case, if we find the murderer of this series of cases, it's possible to find out who the person behind Xing Kai is." After hearing this, Mu Qiqi looked at Xing Xiao in admiration. Look, it was so easy to talk to smart people. As a result, Mu Qiqi revealed a look of disdain again. She had been playing the lute to a cow when she talked to Gu Ziling just now. On the other hand, Tang Yin had taken 2 hours off to keep his promise and bring Feng Shanshan to the hospital for a checkup. Feng Shanshan knew that he was busy, so she did not complain. When they arrived at the hospital, she cooperated with everything and used the fastest speed to let Tang Yin, her new father, see the small dot in her womb. At present, the pregnant woman's health is improving, but she still needs to rest in bed as much as possible. It's best for you, husband, to accompany your wife more. This will help her recover. Thank you, doctor. We understand. Feng Shanshan saw that Tang Yin was silent and quickly answered the doctor. Because she knew that it was impossible for Tang Yin to accompany her. Tang Yin knew very well in his heart. There's nothing else. You can go home now. Feng Shanshan thanked him and held Tang Yan's hand as they left the hospital. Seeing that he did not say a word, she smiled. Why are you so nervous? The child is growing in my stomach. What are you afraid of? Tang Yin turned around slightly and faced Feng Shanshan. Why don't I quit and find another job? I'll try my best to accompany you. Feng Shanshan was shocked when she heard this. Even someone who had always regarded cases as his life would say such a thing. Chapter 762. But I don't want me to owe you more and more. Tang Yin held Feng Shanshan's hand and said, After I'm done with this case, I'll talk to the chief. I know martial arts. When the time comes, setting up a training school is also a good way out. Feng Shanshan saw that he seemed to be serious and wanted to stop him, but when the words came to her mouth, she felt that there was no need. Because he would eventually understand that he was born to be a criminal police officer. He couldn't escape even if he wanted to. After the two of them got into the car, Feng Shanshan said calmly, I'm not doing this for you to make you feel that you owe me. I'm doing everything willingly. I'm giving birth to a child for the man I love. This is also my child. You can lose your studies and get pregnant before marriage for me. I can also give up everything for you. But I don't need you to give up for me, Feng Shanshan answered him seriously. If you don't handle the case, you won't be the same Tang Yen. I don't want you to regret it. Let's talk about this in the future. It's not the last resort. Tang Yen didn't say anything else and just drove away. In the past he drove very fast, but now he would have some misgivings. After all, he was about to be a father. What should I do when you're pregnant? Or what should I prepare? It's also my first time being a mother. I've also read experiences and books on the internet, so I don't know what you need to prepare, Feng Shanshan said truthfully. But I bought a few books. You can read them when you have time. Tang Yen nodded as he drove at a steady speed. I need to go back to the station first. Wait for me in the car. I'll be out in 10 minutes. No need. I haven't gone in for a long time. You talk to the chief. I'll go see my senior brothers. This was good too. At least he was relieved. When they arrived at the entrance of the branch office, Tang Yen helped Feng Shanshan out of the car. The two of them entered the station together, and then Tang Yen went to the chief's office. This time he was not there for the case but for personal matters. He wanted to get married. After the chief heard this, he naturally could not object. Tang Yen, since you already have a child, I naturally won't stop you. However, Qingbin and the others, you have to be more careful. Especially now that you have a family, you have to be more careful. I know, Tang Yen replied respectfully. Since that's the case, you can go and settle the procedures tomorrow morning. Although the investigation is very important, I also have to care about my subordinate's life. Congratulations. Thank you, Director. Downstairs, Old Cheng and the others were very happy to see Feng Shanshan. Really, is Captain Tang usually so strict? I told you not to come to the branch office and you didn't come. It's such a waste of your senior brothers to treat you so well. Senior brother Long looked at Feng Shanshan and complained. I have a special reason. It's not convenient for me to come over. I'll visit you often in the future. Feng Shanshan quickly comforted them. When the professor heard that Feng Shanshan had come, he put down the scalpel and walked out of the autopsy room. You're not feeling well. Why don't you rest at home? Uncle, I'm much better now, Feng Shanshan replied with a smile. You have to be more careful, okay? The people around them listened and felt that something was wrong. However, only Old Cheng dared to ask directly. Is Shanshan pregnant with our captain's child? You didn't see it. Captain Tang helped Shanshan in just now. Not only that, but he even asked for leave for such an important case. Don't you think it's strange? Did this person have to guess so accurately? Feng Shanshan opened her mouth and was about to speak, but Tang Yen walked out of the director's office. There's no need to investigate the case anymore? You guys are so free. Captain Tang, did I guess right? Old Cheng leaned forward fearlessly. Tang Yen didn't say anything. He just put his arm around Feng Shanshan's waist and said, Let's go. Captain Tang didn't deny it, so it's tacit agreement. Since you dare to ask, then prepare the red packet early. I'll come over for a meeting at 8 o'clock in the evening. Tang Yen said coldly and then turned around with Feng Shanshan. The few of them were stunned for a moment before they reacted. As expected, Captain Tang is going to be a father. That's great. How fortunate. The police station was filled with wails. Of course, they were the envious voices of the single dogs. When would the police station have a beautiful sister again? There were no benefits at all. At 7 o'clock in the evening, Kai entered the house. When Gu Xiling saw him, she went up to him and asked, Call Godfather and ask him what he wants you to do. No matter how I look at it, he doesn't seem like he wants to help you. Instead, he wants to use you as a tool. Shun Kai pushed Gu Xiling away and looked very impatient. You don't know anything at all. I don't know, but I know how to seek benefits and avoid harm. I don't want to be dragged down by you. Gu Xiling lay on the sofa and said. *TC. Shin Kai pointed at Gu Xiling and scolded, Gu Xiling, you're already married to me. Stop dreaming. How can you find another man to be happy in this life? If you don't want to call, I'll call Godfather. After saying that, Gu Xiling was about to go forward and snatch Shin Kai's phone, but Shin Kai slapped her to the ground. Unreasonable. Gu Xiling was stunned and could only sit on the ground weakly. So you're incompetent? Because you only know how to go home and hit women. Shin Kai was almost angered, but when he saw the blood at the corner of Gu Xiling's mouth, he did not continue. He just grabbed his clothes, slammed the door and left. Perhaps Gu Xiling felt that her life was too good. The two of them quarreled and Sheng Kai rushed out of the door. That was exactly what Mu Qiqi had predicted, without a single mistake. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Tang Yin returned to the police station for a meeting to summarize and sort out the latest clues. Old Qing raised Mu Qiqi's question. It would be best to summon the mother of the deceased, Bai Sini, for questioning. However, because she was now bedridden, he could only ask the police to make another trip. Tang Yin felt that since Mu Qiqi was the one who had discovered this clue, it was most appropriate for her to go. One day and one night should be enough. He just didn't know if Xing Xiao would let her go. Mu Qiqi was definitely willing to go. The key was, where was her man? How about this? The deceased's father is in this city. Summon him for questioning first before deciding whether to go to J City. Tang Yin decided. Time is of the essence. Old Qing, bring some people to fetch Father Bai immediately. We'll try to get the results tonight. All right, Captain Tang, leave these matters to us. You're injured and you have to take care of Shanshan. You should go back and rest, Senior Brother Long said to Tang Yin. I have my own arrangements. You guys take care of yourselves, Tang Yin replied calmly. Of course he had to go home. Tomorrow was the day he and Shanshan registered. He had not proposed yet. Chapter 763. However, when it came to proposing, Tang Yin had no experience and there was no one around him to ask. Therefore he could only call Xing Xiao for help. Xing Xiao frowned. He was puzzled. He and Tang Yin shouldn't be so familiar with each other, right? However, since the other party was in trouble, as someone who had been engaged and married before, he naturally had to give good advice. When Mu Qiqi heard that Tang Yin was going to propose, she immediately became excited. She moved closer to Xing Xiao and insisted on eavesdropping on their conversation. Xing Xiao pushed her away and went to the study with his phone. A few minutes later, Xing Xiao returned to the bedroom and saw Mu Qiqi's unhappy face. What can't you tell me? Why are you still hiding it? Xing Xiao pressed her head with a faint smile. Your mouth is as fast as lightning. If I tell you now, will others be surprised? When have I ever revealed other people's secrets? Mu Qiqi asked angrily. Besides, I'm really a little envious. Feng Shanshan is pregnant and now she's going to be proposed to. Thinking about it carefully, why do I feel that I've never experienced this before? Amnesia? Xing Xiao looked at her and pinched her chin. His tone was a little fierce. Looks like I really should throw you into the hospital and let the doctor cut open your head to see if there's a pig's brain or tofu inside. So fierce. Mu Qiqi rolled her eyes at him and struggled out of his hand. Sai, we're an old couple. We're really tired of each other. Xing Xiao grabbed her shoulder and dragged her onto the big bed. Looks like you're sick. What disease? Mu Qiqi quickly covered her shoulders. You won't be happy if you don't provoke me. Late at night, Tang Yin returned home. He carefully covered his bulging trouser pockets and quietly entered the room. Feng Shanshan was lying on the bed, sleeping soundly. Taking the opportunity, Tang Yin immediately went to decorate the living room and called Professor Tang and his wife, hoping that the elders could witness it with their own eyes. Although it was already very late, Professor Tang and his wife were still very curious. When had they ever seen their cold nephew do such a thing? Therefore the old couple moved very quickly. In the living room, Tang Yin arranged some candles and colorful lights. These were all found on the internet. Only the rings and the elders were learned from Xing Xiao. Then he put on his police uniform. It was rare for him to be so proper in front of others. Then he welcomed Professor Tang and his wife. Where's Shanshan? Professor Tang asked after entering the room. I'll have to trouble you two to take a seat in the kitchen. I've set an alarm for her and the lights will be on in the room. She'll see it when she wakes up. Sure. Professor Tang was very straightforward. He took his wife and hid in the kitchen to watch the show. He had thought that his nephew would be cold for the rest of his life, but Feng Shanshan appeared and immediately showed her charm. She made his nephew, who did not understand feelings, obedient. Look, he even knew how to be romantic now. About 5 minutes later, the alarm clock beside Feng Shanshan rang. She was woken up. Seeing the colorful light in the bedroom, she immediately got up. The living room was lit with candles, white roses and twinkling lights. The whole place looked dreamy and fairy tale. Then Tang Yin came out of the bathroom with firm steps. This was the first time Feng Shanshan had seen him wear a police uniform. His natural heroic spirit and strong figure made people almost forget what it was like to wear this police uniform. Then Tang Yin walked in front of Feng Shanshan and held her hand seriously. I didn't want to wake you up, but I want to change our relationship. I'm a cold person and I'm proud. I'm often not at home. When I'm on a mission, I'll forget the whole world. But after meeting you, I want to change everything. Shanshan, because of you, I want to have a home. After saying this, Tang Yin suddenly knelt on one knee and took out a brocade box from his pants pocket. There was a simple diamond ring inside, but because it was simple, it made Feng Shanshan feel at ease. Marry me. From now on, let me protect you and our child, okay? He specially wore a police uniform because he was swearing with it. From now on, she would be his everything. Feng Shanshan knew his intentions, so her eyes involuntarily turned red. Even if you don't propose, I'll only recognize you as a man. Feng Shanshan covered her face and said, to me, nothing is important. You and the child are my life. After saying that, Feng Shanshan pulled Tang Yin up, and Tang Yin took the opportunity to put the ring on Feng Shanshan's hand. Then the two of them stared at each other and hugged each other affectionately. At this time, Professor Tang and Feng Shanshan came out of the kitchen. The old couple finally saw their child's happiness with their own eyes, and they could finally put down the big stone in their hearts. Uncle, Aunt? I asked them to come because they're our only family. I hope to get their approval and blessings, Tang Yin explained to Feng Shanshan. Professor Tang's eyes turned red. He pointed at Tang Yin and said, if you don't treat Shanshan well in the future, I won't let you off. But Shanshan, don't worry. This kid is wearing a police uniform to propose to you, which means that he values you more than his own life. This is the highest promise a man can make. Feng Shanshan leaned into Tang Yan's arms. She was extremely touched and happy. She felt that all of this was a dream. If she hadn't met Mu Qiqi, if she hadn't been influenced by Mu Qiqi, she would never have a happy family, a husband and children in her life. At this moment, her heart was filled with gratitude. This was not a luxurious proposal of the century, but it was warm enough for her. Because her man existed to punish evil. As the wife of a police officer, she did not care about the vanity in front of her. Tomorrow morning we'll register for marriage. I want you to be Mrs. Tang. Feng Shanshan nodded and cried tears of joy. She lay in Tang Yan's arms and cried softly. Finally, she was going to get married. On the other side, a colleague from the Jianchuan branch was interrogating Father Bai at night. After Father Bai and Mother Bai divorced, he went abroad to do business. He had just returned 3 years ago and could not contact his daughter. He did not expect that the last news he received from his daughter would be her death. Chapter 764. When was the last time you saw your daughter? Last Christmas, Papa Bai answered. Then you don't know anything about your daughter? Papa Bai's eyes were red as he shook his head. I'm a derelict father. I really want to strangle myself to death. Why didn't I bring my daughter to my side? After old Cheng interrogated Papa Bai, he found nothing. It seemed that he had no choice but to go to Mama Bai. The next day, Mu Qiqi went to the branch office to learn about the progress. When she heard about the results of Papa Bai's interrogation, she was very disappointed. Although she was already mentally prepared, Papa Bai had nothing to do with this matter. Qiqi, Captain still hopes that you can make the trip, but he seems to have some concerns, old Cheng said to Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi rolled her eyes. Of course. Wouldn't she have concerns if she was asked to go out of the city to investigate a case? That big Buddha at home would be the first to disagree. But, Senior Brother Cheng, if you can guarantee that you can send me home before 6 o'clock in the afternoon, I can go with you. I don't have any problems here. Let's wait for Captain Tang to come before making arrangements. Old Cheng didn't dare to agree casually. After all, Mu Qiqi wasn't an ordinary person. If anything happened, her family would definitely skin his entire family alive. He couldn't afford to bear this responsibility. Tang Yin brought Feng Shanshan to the Civil Affairs Bureau at 9 o'clock in the morning to register for the marriage certificate and then sent her to Professor Tang's house. At 10 o'clock in the morning, he returned to the branch office with the marriage certificate that he hadn't put down yet. At that moment, everyone was in a terrible state. Captain Tang, the trip to J City is unavoidable. What do you think we should do? Old Cheng went up to Tang Yin and told him. After all, if he couldn't produce any evidence, both the pressure from the chief and public opinion would be fierce. Tang Yin looked at Mu Qiqi and struggled in his heart. Then he walked up to Mu Qiqi and said to her, if I don't come back tonight, please take care of Shanshan, your newlyweds. Are you sure? Mu Qiqi grabbed the corner of Tang Yan's shirt and asked. How about this? Wait for me. I'll call Xiao Xiao first. Tang Yen nodded. Mu Qiqi took her phone and walked to the side. Mu Qiqi's heart was pounding. She knew that no matter how much trouble she caused in Jianchuan, Xing Xiao would always have a way to keep her safe. But that might not be the case in other cities. And what Xing Xiao hated the most was having her out of his sight. Even so, she dialed Xing Xiao's number. Xiao Xiao, if you have something to say, say it. Xing Xiao knew that it was not something good when he heard her hesitant tone. There's an important suspect in J City, but she's seriously ill and can't come, so the police can only go there. Mu Qiqi said, clearly feeling a little lacking in confidence. You want to go? Xing Xiao said what was on her mind. Am I not here to ask for your opinion? If you think it's dangerous and won't let me go, then I'll. So you're not going? Xing Xiao scoffed. You set off as usual. Wait for Su Che at the toll booth. He'll be there to pick you up. But if Su Che follows me, what will you do? I'll be at the company all day. I don't need him. After Xing Xiao said that, he hung up the phone. Then he put down the contract and turned to tell his secretary, let Su Che in. No matter what, Mu Qiqi easily obtained Xing Xiao's agreement. This made Mu Qiqi feel uncomfortable. However, she did not know that Xing Xiao wanted to use this strategy to make Mu Qiqi feel guilty. This way she would naturally be more concerned about her safety and not act rashly. Actually, in general, this thing was obedient. She rarely caused trouble for him. Therefore, no matter what, he did not want to be the cage that imprisoned her wings. A moment later, Mu Qiqi returned to everyone and said to Tang Yen, Su Che will follow me, so Captain Tang, you stay in Jianchuan. If there are any clues in J City, Senior Brother Cheng and I will give you feedback in time. I believe in you. Tang Yen patted Mu Qiqi's shoulder. I'll wait for your news. Come back as soon as possible. Mu Qiqi nodded and got into Old Cheng's police car. There were 4 of them. Other than Old Cheng, there were 2 other rookies. Soon the 4 of them left the city. Su Che followed Xing Xiao's instructions and waited at the exit of Jianchuan. Mu Qiqi got into her car and the group quickly headed for J City. Actually, other than protecting Mu Qiqi, Su Che had another mission. If Mu Qiqi was not sure if she could go home before 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Su Che would immediately give Xing Xiao a signal. Since he could not guarantee that Mu Qiqi would stay by his side obediently at all times, he could only move himself and let Mu Qiqi stay in his line of sight. It was fine to say that he was exaggerating or being pretentious. He had to keep an eye on his own woman. Once an accident happened, it was 100%. After a 3-hour drive, Mu Qiqi and the others arrived at the entrance of the hospital where Mama Bai was staying. They expressed their intentions to the hospital and successfully obtained Mama Bai's medical record and check-in information. This lady has a bad temper. Be careful when you ask her questions, the nurse kindly reminded them before they entered the ward. Then Miss Nurse, who usually takes care of this lady? Mu Qiqi could not help but want to know more about Mama Bai's situation and see if there were any traces of the murderer. Not long after she was paralyzed, she hired a nurse. She looks fierce every day. She's too tough. Then, can you tell us how to contact that nurse? No problem. The nurse nodded and took out her phone from her pocket. I can only contact the nurse's company and know his name. You'll have to find out the rest yourself. Thank you, Miss Nurse. The nurse smiled and walked away. Mu Qiqi then said to Senior Brother Cheng, in Baisini's suicide note, she said that it was because her family was broken and she had been living with a mask. It was very tiring. If this suicide note is forged, then the murderer must be very familiar with Baisini's family background. Let's go and meet this tough lady. After Senior Brother Cheng said that, he knocked on the door of the ward. Who is it? Come in. A rough voice came from the room. Mu Qiqi and Senior Brother Cheng entered and saw a middle-aged woman in her early 50s lying on the bed. She looked ugly and disheveled. Who are you? Old Cheng immediately took out his identification and said to her, We are the police. I believe you already know about your daughter's suicide, right? Chapter 765. You don't seem to like your daughter very much. Mu Qiqi followed Mama Bai's emotions and asked, Can you tell me the specific reason? I raised her so much, but she wants to go back to her father. What do you think I should do with such an unfilial daughter? Mama Bai said hatefully. I've been paralyzed these days and I just wanted her to come and take a look. She actually said she didn't have time, so I told her to die. Then do you know that she has already bought a train ticket? Mu Qiqi continued to ask Mama Bai. How would I know that much about her? If she's dead, then so be it. I'll just treat it as if I've raised an ingrate. From Mama Bai's words, Muchichi could not tell that this woman had any feelings for her daughter. Muchichi and Old Cheng looked at each other and did not say anything. Mama Bai began to chase them away impatiently. Are you done asking? If you're done, hurry up and leave. Don't disturb my rest. My daughter has just died. Do you have any sympathy? Old Cheng and Muchichi looked at each other and decided to leave the ward first. Old Cheng thought to himself that he might be able to get some useful clues from this woman. But in the end, it was another wasted trip. Chichi, what do you think? I think there's a big problem with this woman. Moreover, she's full of lies, Muchichi said as she leaned against the wall outside the ward. I don't know if Senior Brother Cheng noticed the necklace on Mama Bai's neck. Muchichi reminded Senior Brother Cheng to recall. I think it's just an ordinary silver accessory. There's nothing special about it. Muchichi shook her head and smiled at him. That's not a silver accessory. That's a Perkin necklace. Moreover, it's a product of Huang Yao. It's a minimalist series of Huang Yao. I've planned events for Huang Yao before. I've seen it before. Are you sure? What if it's an imitation? Old Cheng held his chin in confusion and said, how would a Philistine woman like her know about Huang Yao's jewelry? All in all, I think we still need time to investigate this woman, so Senior Brother Cheng might not be able to go back today. Muchichi said to Old Cheng. Su Che heard what she said and promptly sent a message to Xing Xiao. Then let's find a hotel nearby to stay. In the evening we'll visit Mother Bai's neighbors. A moment later, Muchichi called Tang Yen to tell them about the progress of the investigation and mentioned the platinum necklace. Tang Yen immediately realized that there was a receipt in Bai Sini's drawer. It was worth 360,000 yuan. I'll send Xiaolong to Huang Yao to retrieve the surveillance footage from that day. Why did Bai Sini buy such an expensive necklace? Why did that necklace end up with Mother Bai? It was a few days before Bai Sini committed suicide. Mother Bai said that she hadn't seen Bai Sini for a long time, so how did the necklace get into her hands? With many questions, Muchichi and Old Cheng arrived at the place where Mama Bai lived and began to visit the neighbors. However, because Mother Bai was mean to her neighbors on weekdays, no one was willing to interact with her at all. Only the old man downstairs knows a little about her. This woman, when she was not sick, she often went out on Saturdays and came back on Sundays. I don't know what she was doing. I met her several times and every time she came back she smelled of alcohol. She's mean and has no relatives or friends. She only has a daughter. In the past she often beat and scolded her. By the way, when I came back once, I saw a luxury car sent to her and her daughter. Sir, how long ago was that? Muchichi asked as she recorded. Not long ago, more than half a month ago, the old man recalled. It was a black car. From afar it looked very beautiful. From this, it could be seen that Mama Bai's mouth was full of lies. No, it should be said that she didn't say much and deliberately avoided it. Alright, it's getting late. Let's find a place to rest for the night and see what Captain Tang will do. Senior Brother Cheng looked at his watch and turned to look around. Why don't we stay nearby? I've already arranged accommodation for you just now, Su Che, who had not spoken for a long time, suddenly said. The two of them were stunned for a moment and nodded. That's good too. Then the three of them went to eat some J-City specialties. Because Muchichi still wanted to go back to her room to sort out her doubts, after eating, the two of them went to the hotel under Su Che's lead. You rich people really know how to find a place. You can even find a 5-star hotel in a small place like J-City. Chichi, I'm really basking in your glory. Senior Brother Cheng could not help but smile when he saw the door of the hotel. You're welcome. It was just that the two of them were arranged on different floors, which made Senior Brother Cheng feel inconvenient. However, because Su Che said that there were no rooms, Old Cheng did not dare to complain. Call me if there's anything. Okay. Muchichi nodded. Soon, Su Che sent Muchichi to the door and swiped his card to open the door for her. Muchichi was very sleepy after running for the whole day. However, after pushing the door open, she blinked and was stunned. Xiao Xiao. Xing Xiao was sitting in front of his desk and had just finished a video call. When he saw Muchichi return to her room, he leaned against her and winked at her. Why are you here? Muchichi woke up from her nap and jumped onto Xing Xiao excitedly. You didn't come home last night, so I could only warm your bed. Xing Xiao hugged her and fell into a deep sense of satisfaction. J-City is a little colder than Jianchuan. It's remote and the security is chaotic. If I don't come, what if someone breaks into your room at night? You just said that you missed me. Why are you still finding so many excuses for yourself? Mu Chichi glanced at him disdainfully. Are you going back tomorrow morning? Up to you. Xing Xiao replied coldly. Then I have to hurry up and figure out the situation here. Mu Chichi got down from Xing Xiao's body and began to take out a pen and paper to organize her thoughts. According to her previous deduction, Mama Bai had lied. The neighbor said that half a month ago he saw someone send Mama Bai and Bai Sini home. However, Tang Yin said that the necklace was bought 2 days before Bai Sini committed suicide. However, the necklace was now in Mama Bai's hands. In other words, the last time the mother and daughter met was within 10 days. The old man said that Mama Bai went out every weekend. Once, she even brought her daughter along and even sent her off in a luxury car. In other words, Mama Bai brought her daughter to meet someone of high status. After sorting out the information, Mu Chichi began to call Tang Yin. After Tang Yin heard the information that Mu Chichi had sorted out, he felt that the most important thing now was to figure out who Mama Bai went to meet every week. Especially when she brought Bai Sini to meet someone. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.